the line. Nice idea, but just a bit too powerful. Horvath to Steiner. Horvath dispossessed, and 6 and 7's a little bit here. Gareth Furlong looking to get there across, and Shipley was around, but out it goes behind. And just picked up from a scrappy moment defensively there, did Wales.
Yeah, it's a couple of times they're supposed to have turned it over in the centre of the pitch, and I think, to be honest, Shipley would be pretty disappointed he hasn't at least hit the target there. It's a really good opportunity, good counter-attack. He's worked hard to get into that position, but just couldn't get anything make the keeper work.
Sixth minute here, Wales in front, but here comes Switzerland, the best run forward they've had so far. Trying to get towards the circle there was Brunneman. Fabian Steiner through the gap. Heisman just closed down and closed out of the circle, and the ball will be Wales's in the end. It's a nice promising bit of solo play, that.
Yeah, just couldn't make that connection that we talked about earlier on. You got the ball up the park, and just a little bit of panic, run out of ideas a little bit, forced it into the D, and ultimately Wales were pretty comfortable bringing it out.
Morelli to Horvath. Once again, a bit loose, and Rhys Bradshaw picking back up here for Wales. Into the circle, trying to go for it himself. Stays alive and in play for Francis. And just out it went in the end. But again, that's a couple of times now they've had their pockets picked there, the Swiss.
It's a really good opportunity for Wales to score goals, or at least to create chances. You know, that get a bit of pressure on high up the pitch and counter-attack quickly into the space. So I think that's probably where we'll see most of the chances come, either from that or from the kind of high transfer, high platform that they've been setting up when they're in possession.
That's another play down that far side, looking to try and ping it in there. Bradshaw was waiting. Switzerland get it away towards the halfway line. Wales just freshening up their players with the rolling subs. Newbold involved in Wales, been a pattern of this first quarter so far. Here's Wall. Direct route, it's came off Switzerland's stick and hammered away in the end, and Steiner couldn't quite get hold, but Wales couldn't get the attack into the circle.
Yeah, just sort of snatched at that a wee bit. There's quite a lot of time, I think, for him just to pick the ball up and get his head up and maybe find a pass or create a better opportunity. Wales have probably been a bit guilty of that so far this first few minutes, just snatching at these counter-attack opportunities.
First of two matches here, with Scotland taking on Gibraltar at 7 o'clock.
Just off the back stick there, tried reverse stick pass. It was a good opportunity, spotted a good opening going forward, just couldn't quite execute the skill.
Hutchinson quick to restart. Bradshaw doing well down that side. Wales looked to fire in. Went high and turnover for Switzerland there.
It's just come off one of the Welsh forwards. They've all come off his feet there.
Ticking towards the final 5.5 minutes of this first quarter. Wales with the early lead through Rupert Chevrolet, who just joined us late. Here's Oswald for the Swiss. No one there though, but that's just hit off the post, and that's slightly more fraught for the keeper there.
Yeah, that was always my nightmare when I played it. As a goalkeeper, you think it's going off the back and suddenly it's on, and even though there's no real danger, it does create a little bit of moment of panic.
Managed to usher the free hit eventually to Wales. Sleepless nights.
Yeah, I still have them. I still dream about some of the goals I conceded as a result of that.
Draper restarting for Wales. Quickly to the other end and back towards attacking position again. Francis did decide to go backwards, and it's a 50 cap player in the middle of that back line. Furlong looking to advance forward, and Wales looks to advance towards the circle. Just enough done there defensively by Switzerland. It's been a little scrappy, but they do have the free hit. I guess one of the things they had a couple of shaky moments, but for Switzerland it still is only one, and they haven't. Sometimes you can see the kind of pendulum or the buses coming, a couple of goals come in quick succession. Hasn't happened here.
No, Wales have had the chance to add to their tally, but I think Switzerland will probably go in into the first quarter break as the happier team. Definitely be disappointed to be a goal down, but as you say, sometimes you concede one, you concede two or three quite quickly afterwards, so being able to steady the ship's an important part of that.
Well, let's hope we've not folks too soon. If you're a Swiss fan watching on, as the Wales are coming forward again, got the free hit in the edge of the circle. Umpire not quite happy though, restarting.
Wasn't exactly where the foul was, so being maybe a little bit picky there. A little bit unfortunate not to be able to take the quick free hit.
Prosser did restart, but Switzerland have reset. The slip and slide as Francis was trying to keep hold.
There's a little bit of argy-bargy in the D there. I think they're going to get a talking to from the umpire. Just a bit of a coming together in the D, and then a little bit of verbals afterwards.
Benjamin Francis there and Alex Mellon, Oswald, the two just having a brief chat.
Maybe just arranging swap shirts after the game.
I think it's probably if they were going, I think you're allowed to these days. The COVID rules have kind of lapsed, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, they were almost trying to do it mid-game there, so maybe just decided to wait until the game's actually finished.
Newbold getting a good bit of headway, and free hit near the edge of the circle. The ball is moving, so Prosser will just have to take it canny, and they'll restart. With everyone back now. Furlong wide, looking to get it back. Oh, lovely. Just didn't quite sit for someone in black in the middle of the circle.
Yeah, Swiss coach just shouting for calm there, just asking his team to settle down, probably just see out these last couple of minutes, and we can hopefully build on that.
Kelly. Furlong gets it back. Here's Hutchison. Neil's trying. Out to the far side. Sneaks in here for Morgan. Julian Morgan trying to work around Chivberley there. Oh, and they somehow managed to cue up a teammate. That was lovely play. And away it's cleared.
Yeah, good opportunity for Wales there. I think some of the Welsh forwards were too busy watching Shipley, expecting him to score rather than getting on the end of his pass.
Yeah, Hawker I think was the one that was central with a very shiny stick, but didn't fall for him. But still with Wales here, final 30 seconds of the quarter for a couple-minute break. And Gareth Furlong again trying to motor forward. Out it goes on the baseline, and Switzerland will regain and probably keep hold for the final few seconds. And there is the first half footer, and Wales with the lead thanks to the 3rd minute goal from Rupert Shipperley. Worthwell, second of 2 quick-fire penalty corners. In fact, the only penalty corners they've had so far in the game, and they managed to score from it. Had 1 or 2 other moments where they maybe felt they could have scored. Switzerland have settled in the last 5-6 minutes of the contest. And here's a little look, and that was it was great defensive work, but they managed to fumble it in.
Yeah, really good stop on the line initially, and he's got to stick behind it trying to block it, but Shipley's able just to lift it over his stick. You can kind of see it from the angle behind, where he just gets enough of a lift over and pops it in. Yeah, I think it's a bit of a shame it goes through the keeper, but they keep it out, and then I think the technical term is a stramash, is that right?
Yes, I don't know if these two know that word, but they've learnt it now.
I don't know what that is in German, but sure they'll pick it up by the end of it.
That was I think that one replays purely just for you, Keith.
Yeah, that's it's given not just me nightmares, but probably most of my teammates that played with me are reliving that if they're seeing it. Dealt with it well, actually. Initially gets kind of caught under his feet a wee bit. You can see he's kind of expecting it. It's just the spin of the ball as it comes off just makes it a little bit difficult, but Wales calm in bringing the ball out.
There was also as well a little vray of a good solo run as well, which kind of led to a lot of action around the edge of the Wales defending circle, but Wales mentioned a couple of moments, other moments where they pounced but couldn't score from. So 1-0 at the moment, as we mentioned. It was 9-0 when these met in Scotland 5 years ago. Different times these days, but Wales with the 1 goal margin and getting us back underway for the second quarter. 50 more minutes for the half-time break, and Wales looking to extend their lead and going long, and that's it was good control initially from Kelly. Wales have the free hit, and Posser comes in and Nixon to take it quickly. Bradshaw for support if required, still with Wales. Wall for Furlong. They try the route down the other side.
I could hear Wales coach Danny Newcombe there shouting, "Get out, get out, get out," when it was caught in the corner. I think that's probably the message he's given to his team at the quarter time there, is just to be a little bit more patient, to kind of stick to the things that they know will work and create better chances as a result.
Bradshaw getting himself into the circle. Well, he's managed to pick up support as well. It's a good save, and into the side rather than into the back of the board. And Wales with an early chance there. Carson was lurking and not quite.
Yeah, they probably went for power there rather than placement. It opened up for him, and you can see he's just looking at the ball rather than potentially looking where the goalkeeper is and finding a gap.
Well, that might wriggle through here at the other side for Vishoda. Just went away from him, but he's got a penalty corner, and from absolutely nothing, Switzerland have got a chance here.
Yeah, you're right. It's from absolutely nothing. A fairly aimless long ball up the pitch is mistrapped by the Welsh defence, and they get the chance in behind. And actually, Wales have a second chance to clear up the kind of mistake of their own making there. 2 players getting each other's way and causing obstruction.
Toby Reynolds-Cotterill hasn't too much to, apart from a slightly shaky ball hitting the post. Now him and 4 players in there defending. First Switzerland penalty corner. Oh, and is it just a clear off the line? No, it's went by now, and it was smashed there by Jonas Winkler.
Yes,
and has been smuggled somehow away.
Straight at the keeper, and I think it almost goes through his legs. He gets enough on it to stop it, and gets a bit fortunate. Falls to the postman to get the clearance.
So, moment there for Switzerland, but they are still 1 goal down here early in this second quarter. A couple of chances at either end. Certainly miscontrolled by Martelli, but has some support. But now Wales reclaim it. Have the free hit too in that final third. Draper through the gap. Francis trying to roll across. And it's a Switzerland ball in there.
Danny Newcombe just asking for a bit more detail there, making sure that they make those really good decisions and really execute the skills in around the D.
And now maybe the chance on the flick and the turn. It's a scramble again. The initial shot was by Francis.
I think he probably had a bit more time there than he realised. He tried to squeeze away a backspace shot which went straight at the keeper, but he could have probably taken his time and found a corner.
Another free hit, Furlong looking for a bit of space behind. There's Wall flipping it high, and great play to back of the circle. Furlong run out of space though. Back with Wales.
Wales kind of playing into the Swiss hands at the moment a wee bit. They're forcing things a little bit when they get close to D and going into kind of 1v1 duels that they don't really need to go into, and allowing the Swiss to just get close and break play down or come away with it in that 1v1 situation.
Now the spin has quickly went up towards Carson. One pass, Francis was there was Carson, but off target.
Yeah, just another one, just a little snatch at that chance. I think Danny Newcombe will be happy they're creating plenty of chances, but he'll definitely want them to really, as I said earlier, we started focusing on the detail, just really taking their time and making sure they make the most of these chances they're creating.
Now Newbold stopped in his tracks. Now maybe a chance for the Swiss to break and find Eisman, and he's got a gap through the middle here. Eisman into the circle, flashes across, nowhere near goal, but I think probably a bit dangerous because it's kind of neck height. It wasn't really near here nor there in terms of the height, and it just was a bit. But you're talking about kind of being a bit untidy at the other in Wales. That was a bit rushed at this end.
Yeah, exactly the same. A really good bit of skill to get free initially, and then the ball kind of gets caught in his feet, and he just panics a little bit with the pass. Just needed to get the detail because his teammate was in a great position to score.
Here's a big clash of the sticks there. Shibboleth and Switzerland have the ball back. Up the other end, to the final 10 minutes of the quarter. Cross from Winkler. Marielli. Shadowed by Morgan. Takedown by Draper. Two around him to try and work round, and using that line, and gets the free hit too. Some Wales supporters up. There's a Wales flag over on that far side just where that free hit resumed. Shipperley across here. Hutchison cut out. Again, counter here for the Swiss perhaps. No fair and square the challenge with that ball as it was Grandchamp trying to get forward. Now Wales back with Kyriakidis in towards the circle. Just too much fuzz on that for Hawker at the stretch.
Yeah, they moved the ball well there to set up that opportunity. again, it's just that detail, the pass not quite on target, the forward not quite reading it and able to get control. If they'd got that, they were in behind and a really good scoring opportunity.
Wales looking for a second here, but Switzerland's defence has got far more stout as the first half has went on.
Switzerland got a bit deeper, happy to sit in and make it quite compact and try and frustrate Wales, especially when Wales have got this kind of high possession. And you can see that just how narrow they are, and just trying to protect the centre of the pitch. The Swiss just really crowd out the Welsh and force them round the sides and then try and trap them there.
And towards Shipperley. Shipperley across. It's cleared before it could reach Griffiths.
A little bit more friendly jostling in the D there.
Wall. Shipperley trying to get a little stick in there. Bit of body contact, and the body contact, I've seen Switzerland concede a penalty corner in there.
It's a penalty corner to Wales again.
That's how they conceded the first goal. Was a pretty robust tackle. There's definitely contact there. I'm not quite sure there's quite as much as the Welsh player made it look like there was, but definitely contact, definitely a corner.
That's some winning that, and third penalty corner for Wales in the game. Jacob Draper heading across. Hawker in the centre. Gareth Furlong behind too. Could well be poised as his Wall. It's Furlong. It's a good save by the goalkeeper. Still in play here for Draper. Furlong back in. Another save by either keeper or defender. Twist and turn from Furlong. Rupert. And it's going to go in this time, surely. Yes, it is. And Julian Morgan was the one on the line helping it over, and Wales have doubled their lead.
There's a good save from the corner initially, and Wales do well to keep it alive and create a good chance to score here. It gets a bit scrappy, but they keep it alive, win it back a couple of times. Bit of composure there. And just where you want to be, back post. Nice easy goal.
They've had to be patient, Wales. And even in that move, Roger Furlong across and eventually finding Morgan there. Now Bonham in for Switzerland. Can they find a quick go back? No, there's a slip and out it goes, and we're just talking about Switzerland, just steady the ship, particularly in this quarter. I was going to ask you before that penalty corner, talking about how settled Switzerland were defending. Is it that old adage, it gets harder and harder physically, mentally, haven't they? I guess let Wales have a lot of the possession and defend so deep.
Yeah, I guess it's just a numbers game, really. You know, the more defending you have to do, the more times you have to be focused and not make a mistake. And at this level, you know, really, it doesn't even have to be a mistake; it can just be a moment's lack of concentration.
That one fire out, and Wales will retreat as Switzerland will get a little bit of possession. Now chasing a 2-goal margin. I guess there'll be some eyes on their development if it went to the plan book and they're playing perhaps Gibraltar on the last day, but you never quite know. Scotland Gibraltar to come later. And that one flashes out.
Yeah, I think Wales will have definitely targeted the Scotland game. That's that. On paper, that's the one that everyone will want to see, and that's the one that should decide who goes to the top division in Europe here. But you still have to do a job against Switzerland, have to do a job against Gibraltar. You can't take those points for granted, and you know, goal difference could also come into it. Aside from that, you just want good performances. You know, a tournament is all about building and progressing and kind of peaking at the right time. And with Scotland still to come as in the next match, Wales will want to put in a good performance here. Regardless of the scoreline, they'll want to carry on some good habits into the next game.
They finished 6th at the Commonwealth Games in Wales, narrowly losing to New Zealand in the 5th place playoff. And now looking for a third goal here in towards Prosser. Can't quite get the touch he wanted. Now Switzerland on that break for again. Marielli line to Bronham in. Just nicked in there was Rodri Furlong. Helped set up that second goal, and now Wales could find Switzerland stretched here. And flashed underneath the feet. Too much power, I think, in the end, as Wales are looking to capitalise themselves on the break.
Just down to that detail again, that Wales got a forward standing with penalty circle unmarked. He wants that ball onto his forehand, and it just goes past his left foot. You know, even if he is able to pick it up, it's just much harder to convert the chance.
Final 3 minutes of this quarter. And it's working down that side, but back with Hingartner. Up high and long, could see the space out there, which is magnificently controlled by Brunnerman. Keeper came out really big there, did Reynolds Cothrell, and smothered the shot.
A really good opportunity created by Switzerland there. Just lacked that little bit of composure when they got in straight at the keeper. He thought, fair play to him, he did well to come out and smother the chance. Great spot for the pass, and a really good pickup straight into his path to go forward and create a really good opportunity.
I say there is a few Welsh supporters certainly on that side where the Switzerland were attacking there, cheering on. More to come, particularly Scottish supporters for the game later on. I believe Saturday is sold out, but you can come along this evening if you're local, and tickets tomorrow available too, as Wales look to try and find a third here. It's high, and that's going to be a penalty corner, and Wales may well have that chance.
A little bit unfortunate there. Roth gets a touch on the ball and it pops up into the air, but I'm not sure it created any danger. It looked to be well away from the Welsh forward. And, Wales look dangerous from corners, so this is where they can potentially add to their total.
Yeah, we've seen that one kind of looped out. It was quite high compared to the one at the other end when Switzerland, it was at kind of chest or neck height.
Didn't seem to me to be overly dangerous, but the umpire standing right there, he's got a pretty good view. He seemed pretty confident, didn't delay in making the decision.
Draper then with the injection towards Furlong, and it's through and in. I don't know if it's taken a little nick on the way through, but Gareth Furlong does like to score from penalty corners, and Wales have that third just before the half-time break.
A bit of deception on the flick, I think, is just enough to get the goalkeeper off balance. He's going to his left and the ball goes down past his right foot. He gets a stick on it, but because his weight's going one way, it just makes it difficult to save, and he's not able to keep it out.
So straight off the goalkeeper and in, Gareth Furlong's goal, and it'd be a shock if he didn't feature on the scoring chart this week, particularly from that kind of situation. Like to have, and Luke Walker would like to score. And we've already seen Rupert Tripoli score from a penalty corner too. So Wales now kind of maybe expect that scoring maybe we were expecting, particularly from some of the efforts that they let go by in that first quarter. 3 to the good, 90 seconds left in this quarter before half time. Now towards the edge of the circle as they come forward again, and Carson, and another penalty corner, and things are just ebbing a little bit away here from Switzerland. They thought 2-0 get to half time, now another penalty corner's coming.
A stick tackle there, just a little bit trying to get the ball diving in a little bit, and it's just, you can just see the difference that giving away these corners at this level, you can pretty much rely that a team's going to score maybe 1 in 4. Wales pretty good ratio so far, but for Switzerland they've really got to stop conceding corners, because that's been the biggest threat from Wales.
There's Jacob Draper once more, less than a minute after scoring. It's Furlong again, and it's roof of the net this time full load of power, and it's 4-0 now in the scoreboard, and it's ebbing away quickly here from Switzerland.
So I think the power just beats the keeper there. Furlong really gets hold of it. Swiss don't get a lot of pressure on him at the top of the D with the runner. He's got a lot of time to get that way, and yeah, I mean, he fairly gets behind it. But I think Swiss will be looking at that corner defence and hoping to make it a bit harder for them.
As I was saying just before that build up to that fourth goal in that penalty corner, just you kind of thought 2-0 Switzerland would take that and run inside and have their 10-minute cup of tea, and it's a completely different scoreline now so quickly later.
It is, and probably it's actually an accurate reflection of how the game's gone, to be honest. But as you say, Wales would have been expecting to go in at this sort of this score. Switzerland would have definitely been happy with 2-0. They'd have been able to take a lot of positives from that. I think there's still some good stuff from the Swiss in terms of how they've stuck to the task in defence. They'll just be looking to try and eliminate conceding these corners, because that's what's really cost them so far.
And now there's a bit of a stretch here. Defenceless Francis getting forward. Bradshaw in the centre of the circle. There's support behind coming into Kyriakides. Switched across and just by the stick there of Carson. And there is the hooter. And there will be no more punishment for Switzerland here. It's 4-0 at the break to the Welsh. And a couple of 3 minutes ago it was 2-0. They've had a punishing last couple of 3 minutes of the quarter. And as you just kind of mentioned there, on the balance of play, Switzerland hung in, but probably more reflective of the scoreboard as it is now.
I think so. In terms of chances, Wales, as we've talked about, been a bit profligate with some of their chances. You saw that, just that last one there, that counter-attack. They'd an overload, and the second pass just wasn't quite accurate enough. They'll be looking to be a lot more clinical second half, I would imagine. You know, they'll be quite happy with how they've controlled the game, but be looking to execute what their game plan a bit better and really kind of nail down those chances. And for Switzerland, it's probably a case of just trying to reset and just re-establish themselves in this quarter. It was a pretty punishing last couple of minutes for them.
Let's look at some of the best bits. So that was the first goal, which was again a bit unlucky for Switzerland because they made such a good save on the line, and it just kind of couldn't get cleared, and it was smuggled in.
Yeah, he just gets trapped behind the goalkeeper, and as a result, the post player can't get it clear. It just allows Shipley to sneak in, and it just becomes a little bit of a tussle to lift it over the stick. You can see it from this angle. It just gets trapped behind the keeper after the initial save, and he's trying to keep it out, but Shipley's smart enough just to pop it over the handle of the stick.
So that was the moment there, which was a bit harem-scarum, and then Switzerland, that was kind of Switzerland in one or two little brief moments, but it's been pretty Welsh dominated.
Yeah, I mean, this was first quarter where, it's probably about as good an attack as the Swiss had, and it was just by luck. Second quarter, they definitely created more. They had 2 or 3 half chances, and one really good chance when they played that aerial over the top, which I'm sure we'll probably see. But they definitely grew into the game in an attacking sense as it went on. But the game's probably beyond them now.
It's completely sold out. So looking forward to big crowd Simon.
That was further kind of showing of Wales dominating moments, chances, and that first quarter, first couple of quarters.
It's exactly these sort of chances that Danny Newcombe will be speaking to them about just now, just saying, look guys, you've got more time in the D than you think. We just need to make sure we execute this, because that's the difference between teams at the very top level, is that they get these chances and they take them.
This was probably the closest Switzerland have came, and a well worked penalty corner, and it was smuggled away on the line.
It's quite an awkward one for the keeper. It comes in at a pretty low angle straight at him, and you've got your legs open for balance and you have to close them quite quickly. He does just enough to get something on it, sneaks through his legs, but Wales able to clear it off the line.
Again, this is another little fleeting moment here, and just a bit kind of rushed in the end. I think that was the words he used.
Great bit of skill first to fashion the chance, just lifting it over the stick, kind of gets it stuck in his legs there, and then just a little bit of panic, just needed to get that across flat, and if he does, it's probably a goal for Switzerland. lovely touch to set up the chance in the first instance, and I think they'll probably take heart from that. You know, that second quarter they did create quite a few chances, and aiming to get on the score sheet in the second half.
And then things got a bit more clinical for Wales. This was well patiently done despite all the bodies, and eventually touched home for number 2.
It's the typical place where you're going to score easy goals. Stand at the back post, don't move, stay there. You know, Welsh are standing at the back post the entire time. They don't move. They've turned it over twice. And he's just waiting patiently, knowing that if the chance comes, there's a good chance it'll fall to him there. And you see bobbles across the D a couple of times, bit scrappy, but ultimately easy goal to tap in. You can see he just waits and waits and waits as the play's going, doesn't move anywhere, and he's in a good position, just has to be patient, be ready for it, knees bent, hands low on the stick, and just guide it home.
Again, this was another just moment here where Switzerland, well, keeper came out and made it really tough, but a lovely ball for the run. Well controlled, but not quite for Bronneman there to make the most of it.
No, the keeper does well to come out early, but I would like to see Bronneman try and take him on and move the keeper. You know, as the keeper's coming towards him, there's a chance to get him off balance. There's a lot of space to drive around him on the right hand side, and just a bit more composure required there.
This was the difficult couple of minutes here for Switzerland. 2 penalty corners, 2 goals for Gareth Furlong in the thick of it.
Yeah, I think Swiss corner defence are probably going to be pretty disappointed with how things have gone so far. When they've got pressure on the top, they've not dealt with it too well in goals, and other times they've not got pressure on it and allowed Furlong to really get hold of it. None of his flicks have really been in the corner or really difficult to deal with, so I think from that point of view Swiss probably a little bit disappointed with the goals they've conceded. Again, they don't get pressure on the top. You know, can the keeper do better? Possibly. I mean, it's moving, but it's not right in the top corner, and they're probably letting Gareth Furlong get his total up here without really banging these into the corners.
So that's the story of where things are. We'll take a pause. We'll be back shortly for the third quarter with Wales with a 4-0 lead at half time.
Starting to get ready for the second half. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Welcome back to the pitch, Switzerland.
I'm not ready though, but I think that's right. And therefore, if they go tonight,
And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the pitch, Wales.
Okay then, teams back out. A couple of minutes to draw breath and we're ready for the second half. Wales with the advantage, 4-0 over Switzerland in this first match of this mini tournament. Scotland against Gibraltar to come. That's at 7 o'clock this evening. And then tomorrow, 2 games, same times, 4:45 and 7 for Switzerland against Gibraltar. That could be an interesting game for those two sides. And also Scotland-Wales, which could well be, as we discussed before, the one to look upon as the key figure for the top division tournament. And that leads to the final day of this group. Almost like a finals day, but it is all one group. And Wales take on Gibraltar and Switzerland take on Scotland in the pool. But yeah, tomorrow's exciting, but for Wales here, they've perhaps got, well, they've got half the job done, but they've got a big margin here. I don't want to say it's over because I'm just thinking a flash of Scotland and New Zealand at the Commonwealth Games, but they've got a good foot in here. Scotland have got to focus on their job, as well as Gibraltar, who are going to try and make a fist of things later on before we can think about tomorrow's games. I guess the interesting one about half time, with the 2 late goals conceded for Switzerland, Keith, what can they do now to try and get themselves something on the board?
I think getting something on the board is probably what they're going to be aiming for. They definitely created some chances in that second quarter, and that'll probably be the focus, is can they get a goal in this quarter and can they change the momentum a wee bit? Can they keep the goals out at the other end? Sometimes it's just focusing on the game a quarter at a time and trying to get a positive result in each quarter can be quite a good way to deal with these difficult situations, especially if you're the team that's under pressure. And I think that's probably what they'd be trying to do, just have some more good chances and come away feeling that we might not have been the equal of Wales, but what we can do is we can score goals and we can be difficult to play against.
Wales off and running quickly in this third quarter and looking to try and add to the goals, trying to sneak in the circles Gareth Griffiths, and Wales have the free hit and Griffiths quickly with it. Make sure they go 5 if they're trying to get into the circle, and Kelly looking to spin round, might drop not quite for Hawkart. Oh, it might in the end get the shot away, and that's well met by the keeper away. Well, I kind of thought it just ran away from the stick, but managed to work round.
Yeah, it looked like the chance had gone, but he did well to recover it and actually got a pretty decent shot on target, forced a decent save from the keeper.
Wales continuing where things left off, and into the circle it comes. Oh, flick across in the turn as Morgan trying to get his second, and away they've just about urged it. Bronneman back defending, trying to get out a tight spot there.
Again, Wales kind of a bit more focused on the power in the shot rather than the placement of it. Just a little bit more composure required.
Well, they're still in possession. Prosser into the box. Shipperley doesn't find anyone in black colours. Bit of patience from Reinhardt to find a bit of help, try and clear, but back with Kyriakidis. Gareth Furlong. Wall and Draper.
Bit of a change of shape from Wales early on here, probably just trying to ask some different questions of the Swiss defence, open up some different passing angles and try and get people free in slightly different areas, see how the Swiss cope with that.
It's been turned over in Switzerland with it, and Patrick Kruski with it briefly, but not for long. Furlong of the Gareth kind, of course, sitting in that shape at the back, and Wales with 4 goals in their number 4 wall on his 50th appearance, 50th cap, trying to roll forward. Okay, will come through. And here's Gareth Furlong again with space. Cut out the very deep defending of Switzerland, as has been the common theme so far.
Yeah, Furlong just took a little bit too long to play that pass, which just plays into the hands of the Swiss defence. It just allows them time to reset and recover and make that compact. And I think Wales will be really looking to try and pick up the speed of the pass and commit to those forward passes a little bit earlier. Those gaps aren't very big, so they need to make the most of them when they do open up.
Plenty of instructions down on the Swiss side to us. I don't know what they're saying, but it's a very vibrant. Anyway, we're right above the commentary position here, right above the two dugouts.
I think he's saying don't let them go back around, just try and keep it on that side there. It's maybe my schoolboy German, but definitely picked up.
I can say goal in German, so we'll see when if they score, but that's the kind of limitations I've got. Not deep hockey tactics.
Oh, if we teach them Stramash, maybe they can teach us a couple of their own ones.
At the moment, it's Wales in possession, looking to add to their tally. 4 minutes into this third quarter. Wall. Griffiths being pushed wide by Horvath. Horvath with the stick in, but there is support there for Wales, and Morgan. That's a good challenge though. Good play there from Marielli. .47 cap for the experienced Marielli, 29 years of age. Here's Wall again for Wales. Here's Chevalier with the turn and fires it home spectacularly for his second, and that was a smashing effort.
It was a great goal, and that'll be exactly what Danny Eakin was looking for. Really good pass by Johan Wall there, a bit of deception. Finds a really unusual angle there. It's one that the Swiss aren't able to defend. They're not trying to defend the line to goal, and he goes down the left foot of that spare player, and Shipley's smart enough to spot that gap. A great lead and a great first touch, and what a terrific finish.
Open the scoring back in the third minute, helping on at the end of a penalty corner move, and that one finished off a great team move and a wonderful finish. And Wales have 5 now here, just over 5 minutes into this third quarter.
That's definitely what Wales will be looking to do more of. It was really cleverly worked, manipulated the Swiss defence, found the space, and when they took the chance, they really executed the whole move well.
Here's Francis making a good run here. He's taking the deflection for a penalty corner.
Looks like a foot in the knee, and it's another penalty corner for Wales.
First one of this second half.
It's not what you want to be defending when you've just conceded a goal. To instantly be having to pad up and try and run down a corner is difficult, especially when Wales have been pretty clinical from them so far.
Can't rewind the goal. I feel like I'm in a change room. I shouldn't be there. Jacob Draper's taking all the penalty corners so far for Wales. Set up here for Gareth Furlong. It's kind of through the keeper and out on the baseline for the 23. And well, danger averted. Furlong looking for a hat trick.
Yeah, I think he'd be pretty disappointed with that. He really didn't catch it. He had a lot of time at the top of the circle, as we talked about before. The Swiss didn't get a lot of pressure on, and in the end, pretty easy for the Swiss post player to get the clearance in.
Here's Rodri Furlong, but just runs out of space, and will be a Switzerland ball. Just looking to take a moment to breathe here after conceding and then having to defend the penalty corner.
Yeah, they're definitely breathing a sigh of relief there that Furlong didn't get hold of that.
Controlled down by Kyriakidis. Good play wide and not quite going to fall for Carson. Good little defensive touch. There's Loris Grandchamp with the defensive touch. One of the youngsters in the Swiss team is only 19, 8th cap. Well, that wriggles through. And just by there, the shot, the turn from James Carson.
Another good opportunity for Wales. couldn't quite connect with the shot, but you can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to get people 1v1, picking up in that backspace away from goal, and it's really hard to defend. You've got to either be brave or stupid to really get something on top of that as the defender. Wales are looking for every opportunity they can get. They'll just be hoping to get them, a bit more placement with those shots as they come.
Hutchinson, lovely flick back. That's very high. Cars are all okay back there from Francis.
Swiss are just really struggling to get the ball out of their half at the moment. And in some ways it's the best attack for Wales. Best attacking opportunity is just letting the Swiss have it and then trying to turn them over high and counter into the spaces.
Now still there by Winkler. Signed out, do have the ball. But an interesting game tomorrow. Actually, one to really look forward to. Everyone's going to look forward to Scotland and Wales wise with that one. But Switzerland against Gibraltar, that will be a game that should be exciting as well. The first of the two games tomorrow.
Not much difference between them in terms of rankings. There's only about 7 or 8 places in the world rankings, and I think on paper definitely Switzerland be the favourites, but for Gibraltar that'll definitely be the game that they've targeted here in terms of getting a result. They'll be looking for good experience against Scotland and Wales and try to be competitive in those games, and the Switzerland game will definitely be one they'll be looking to come away with some points from.
Rodri Furlong into the circle it went. Reinhardt tried to escape with it, but here's Kelly picking back up. That's going to be a turnover though.
I think the change in how they do the world rankings as well means that when we do get these games, that there is always something to play for. There's a good chance that game might just be for 3rd and 4th place here, and it might not influence too much, in terms of change in European divisions for those teams. But what it can do is a win there can really bump you up the rankings quite a lot, particularly where it's tight and the teams around you. One win can sometimes put you up 2, 3, 4 places in the rankings.
Final 5 of the quarter, flicked into the circle, and another turnover back with Switzerland as Wales were trying to add a 6th.
He does really well to get a touch on this. It's an awkward ball in. Well, yeah, he does well because I think it comes off his feet.
Wales with the restart. Newbold getting forward. That's got a penalty corner coming together.
There's another penalty corner for
Wales. Just a little bit of contact and probably a little bit too rough around the D. Switzerland probably something you can learn from for the rest of the tournament is that this is they might get away with that in some competitions. If it's going to be umpired quite strictly here, they need to be able to adapt to that.
We've got officials like Fraser Bell at the recent Commonwealth Games, and Lars Horvath he was just looking on, a bit of an exasperated figure. Different setup now for the penalty corner. Shipley in. It's up, and it's going to be a penalty stroke.
A pretty sore one there. Comes off the post player. I'm not sure where it hits him. Obviously hits him on the body if Fraser's given the penalty stroke. Yeah, right off the knee. That looks pretty painful.
Maximilian Oswald taking the one for the team there, but it's one of those harsh ones, but that's just the nature of the game where you take a lot of pain but you can see a penalty stroke at the same time.
Straight off the knee pad, and players have got these a lot more padding than they used to have on the line, and I tell you, when it hits you it still hurts. It takes the edge off it, but that was flush on his kneecap.
Maximilian Oswald, welcome to international hockey. I know it can happen at any hockey, but 4th cap for the youngster, for the 20-year-old, and well, welcome to the party.
Yeah, probably not the best way to to ease yourself into international hockey, but I guess that's the standards. The ball comes pretty fast. You've got to be on your toes and be aware of that. It's such a difficult position being on the post. You often don't get a good sight of the ball. You see it late quite frequently, depending on what the defence are doing in front of you. It's not something I would be volunteering for. And you can see there, sometimes you come off pretty sore one.
So just a moment here, and a bit of magic spray, and I think he'll be just hobbling back and taking a seat, and hopefully it doesn't end the tournament for him, but certainly we'll need to just have a little let me sit down. Kind of walking that off, not too bad, but certainly hobbling just now.
Yeah, good to see him back on his feet. I think it'd probably take a little bit more than a magic spray or the sponge, but I'm glad to see he's able to make his own way back to the bench, and hopefully it's nothing too serious.
Gareth Furlong for the hat trick, and he has got it. Expertly done, and Wales add to the tally, and it's 3 for Furlong.
Another goal for Wales, it's 6-0 for Wales now. Goal scorer and a hat trick for number 18, Gareth Furlong. Wales 6, Switzerland 0.
So 4 to play in the quarter. Gareth Furlong with the hat trick, and 6 on the scoreboard.
Switzerland have really struggled to pose anything of an attacking threat in this quarter after creating some good opportunities in that second quarter. After half time, that forward momentum's just stopped. Maybe they can get something here though.
Not quite. I was going to say the 2 goals right at the end of the second quarter were a bit of a flattener for them, but they had a good quarter relatively speaking there, and it's almost as if the break has completely hindered them and haven't really got going at all.
Challenge for the coach there is to let them see that, make them understand that you've conceded a couple of late goals, but the scoreline maybe doesn't reflect how well you've played in that quarter, and let them see, try and keep the confidence, but as you say, sometimes it just knocks the stuffing out of you.
That's kept alive, and Lucas Muller made some good headway. Marielli will be Fluke's ball, the free hit.
Rare bit of established possession high up the pitch for Switzerland here. That's just come thrown the aerial but into congestion, and that's always going to go the way of the defensive team.
Kelly across the back line to Wall. Hat trick scorer Gareth Furlong. Wall. Kelly scored 4 when these met. Two sides met in Glasgow in 2017. Morgan trying to thread it through the gap, but Swiss come away with it. Marielli and time for Eastman. Plenty back to shadow him though. Bronyman. Umpire whistles against Griffiths here as we're into the final 90 seconds of the third quarter.
Probably comes at the wrong time for the Swiss. They've just built a little bit of momentum. The build-up play's been a little bit better here. Kept the ball away from their goal and just kept the Welsh at bay a wee bit, and actually just as you're starting to pull yourself back into the game a wee bit in terms of possession and territory, quarter's going to come and potentially break that momentum.
Just another moment there where nothing really doing for Winkler.
Getting another change of shape in Wales' outlying structure. They've gone back to a back four. Just probing and asking questions of Switzerland, seeing how they can cope and see if they can tempt them out of their own defensive structure.
Clear only as far as Gareth Furlong. There's free hit, maybe the last chance in this quarter. Directed in. Winkler having to juggle it here. And she's to clear his lines to Easmount. It's just slipped behind Muller. But now the chance, final moment, but the clock might well just beat the Swiss, and Naval has beat them as well. And it's a difficult quarter for them in terms of creating any opportunities, conceding a couple further goals. Rupert Shipley's wonderful finish and Gareth Furlong with a penalty stroke. 6-0 as the scoreline at the end of the quarter. And let's look at some of this action from the quarter. What a goal that was.
It's stunning, isn't it? Really good lead, a recognition in the space. Great spot by Owen Wall to pick out Shipperley, and he just has that quality. You can see why he's in the GB squad as well. Takes one touch to control it, gets his feet round and absolutely buries it.
Quick update from the Women's Euro Hockey Championship qualifiers in Dunkirk. Just approaching the end of the first half.
It's one that you can watch a few times as it's wonderful. And then the penalty stroke, which was a Gareth Furlong routine, getting his hat trick.
The 3-0 win as they approach half-time. 3-0 lead, sorry, as they approach half-time.
Sent the keeper the wrong way, and pretty bread and butter stuff.
Yeah, nice way to be able to step up and take your hat trick.
I think I would say we're not quite understanding a lot of the shouting and passion going on from the coaching team down there, but still trying to egg the team on here. Final 15-minute push there for Chris Elst on the Swiss side. There's been a lot of positives with Swiss hockey. Remember the women's side in Glasgow in 2019 doing really well when they featured, and that they've grown a heck of a lot in Switzerland. We've touched on the game tomorrow against Gibraltar, which will be a very intriguing contest, and there'll be a lot of eyes on Scotland-Wales, but that's a game I'm actually looking forward to. It's both games have got two sides playing each other that are very close to each other in rankings, and should prove to be two decent contests.
A lot of experience in the Swiss coaching team. Obviously Chris Elst is the head coach, but Mikko Berman, the assistant coach, he's been to 2 Olympics with the German women. Played for a bronze medal in 2008 in China, and they were also at 2012 in London. So a lot of experience to be able to help those Swiss players, and probably be pleased with some elements so far. But as you say, the chance tomorrow to pick up some points and put in a really good performance and move things on.
Wales starting as they have so far, trying to get that across, but wide it goes. Wales have experience of playing at the top tier in Euro Hockey Championships. Were 7th in 2021, finished 6th a few times. They're looking forward to the first ever World Cup next year, and we've talked about the upward trajectory of Wales, and they are very much looking for that top table place again in Europe to go along with that exciting World Cup adventure.
We've had a couple of good results at European Championships in the last 2 or 3 cycles, and with the age profile of the squad, there's definitely another kind of good 2 or 3 years in this team, and the nucleus of this team. It's a good chance for them to bring in some younger players and help that, give them a good experience to try and push things on again for the future. You want to be playing the best level you can. It's the only thing that prepares you for playing the Dutch is playing the Dutch, and I think that the more you can be at the top table, the more it helps you to compete with these teams.
We've just seen a Swiss flag, so there is some Swiss support here. I've seen the shot in the crowd. I've seen 2 or 3 Welsh dragons around and daffodils and the like, so there's plenty of Welsh. I mean, the trip obviously not too far for them, but there is some Swiss support here too. It's good to see the crowds coming from all 4 nations for this one.
Every time been at a tournament where the Swiss have been, the cowbells are often out as well, so I'm hoping that if we spot some in the crowd, they'll add to the atmosphere.
I say, pretty sure the weekend or Saturday sold out, the finals day of matches. That's going to be a penalty corner here, and a disconsolate looking Swiss players just decide to head straight for the equipment.
Just a bit unfortunate. He tries to bring it down in the air and does well initially, and as he's bringing it down, just doesn't quite concentrate on it. Comes off the back of his stick as well. Fraser Bell's left with no choice but to give a corner.
It's going to be Draper then with it. Crowd expectant. The Welsh contingent particularly. Tee up here for Furlong. It's off the keeper's foot. It's Wall looking to spin, and that stick is landing off the body of the Swiss player there of Morelli, and that will end that.
Going to Furlong again. Gets some power behind it. Doesn't really get hold of it into the corner where he wants. Good save by the keeper, and really brave defending by Morelli to block that shot from Wall.
Flick across, and is there a little break? Not quite for the Swiss. Crucy was making a little run. Good to see them perhaps get on the board here and just get something to take away for tomorrow. That's given away though as Newbold got a bit way forward and then a bit of a clattering, but nothing untoward to these umpires.
As suspected, that quarter time break just killed the Swiss momentum a wee bit. They were just starting to edge into Welsh territory and have a bit more of the ball, and that time comes, the momentum shifts, and we're just back to the pattern of the first half, first three quarters of Wales dominating and Swiss just doing their best to keep them out.
Furlong. Bradshaw to Wall. Straight into Hengartner. Down the other side, and Newbold. Into the left by Gransham. Newbold in there again. This time it's a Swiss ball. Not quite dazzling at the pace Wales of attacks as the game has went on, but in a very comfortable position now. Probably the best possession Switzerland have had in the last 2 or 3 minutes, probably since the second quarter.
Yes, difficult one for Wales just now. You know, they want to push on and, as I talked about, set down a good mark, have a good performance. They want to score goals for goal difference, but they also will have an eye on the Scotland game tomorrow, and you can see they're not quite going at full guns to press and win the ball back. But the problem with that is when you take your foot off the gas a wee bit, it's hard to step it up and just turn it on when you want to.
Lofted up the free hit there, Draper into Shipperley, looking for Hawker. It's out, it goes.
Good spot by Draper there, quick free hit. Spots the aerial over the top. Shipley again just finding some space in the circle. He's really effective at that. Couldn't quite make the connection with Hawker.
Now chance for Reinhard. He's getting a bit of time to get forward. Marielli looking for it, but Reinhard's going to go direct, but that was kind of high again and not reaching anyone anyway in red. There was a bit of space down this near side, Marielli looking for it, but it shouldn't just be smashed away, the possession.
It's one of those ones where, as a coach, it's really frustrating. You've done kept the ball, one possession, kind of earned the opportunity to attack, and then a wee bit of rush of blood from the player, just wants to be super direct, and it's not really on, just forced it, and turnover, and you have to start again.
Spin from Furlong. Draper. Draper gets it back. Spin and turn from Griffith straight into a Swiss body, and that will be a penalty corner.
Yeah, again, another example of how hard it is to defend that backspace shot.
And it's another penalty corner for Wales.
Swiss brave, getting low and trying to block it, but you've just got no idea where the ball's going to come, and you've got no time to react to the shot.
Another injection to come here from Draper. Gareth Furlong's been involved with a couple of those. Shipley got one from a penalty corner. Been a good strike rate. Luke Hawker's not got involved yet in the scoring act. Leon Wall's there as well.
Wall's definitely capable of flicking from the top. Everything's gone to Furlong so far. And again,
here he is. Saved and just pushed away by Marielli. Here's Shipley. And again, defensively just helped out.
Call out from the Swiss to go man to man and try and change things up in defence.
Hawker around here again. Very tight defensive wise. Lucas Muller helping on his way, looking for a back, but it is a Swiss ball on that far side. Wall. That's well controlled by Hawker. Just outside the circle, the free hit. And here towards Griffiths on the turn. And that helps its way out. In the long corner. So we're 6 minutes left of the match. Gareth Furlong and towards Shipley. Great control, went for the shot himself. Still alive here for Wales. So away again for the keeper from Morgan's shot. And another penalty corner to come.
Wales will be looking to get on the score sheet here. Last few corners, they haven't really looked like threatening the goal. Relatively easy saves for the keeper, for the defence to run down, and Furlong will probably pretty frustrated the second half. He's had plenty of chances, but apart from being able to put in the penalty stroke for his hat-trick, he's not really taking these chances from penalty corners.
So Draper once more here. Bit of a switch around here. Still going to be Gareth Furlong, and it's not quite there yet. Oh, and it's surely going to be now. It is. It's another hat-trick in the game. Rupert Shipley this time. He's with 3, and Wales have a 7th.
Yeah, Furlong's drag flick there. I think comes off the post, comes straight back out. Bit of a scramble, and keeper's just unfortunately he's rushing across the goal to try and defend a shot that doesn't come. And it just leaves the goal nice and empty for Shipley to tap it in. Even easier than the back post finished earlier on.
I think you're on about, was it 1 in 4 strike rate for penalty corner? It must be slightly better than that, I think. They've been superb, but Wales are one of the best at it. Probably they just always seem to firing goals from penalty corners.
I think that what they've done effectively is they haven't scored necessarily from direct from the corner, but as often as they would have liked so far. But what they've kept it alive. That's 2 goals now, I think, that have come from the corner, either kind of breaking down or being charged down, or the initial clearance from the Swiss defence, but they've kept it alive and managed to fashion another chance and score from there.
Shipley thought he snuck that back fairly, but umpire says no.
A little bit unlucky there. I thought he did nothing wrong.
Into the final 5 minutes.
Shipley's been a standout for Wales in the game so far. He's just come off for a breather after completing his hat-trick, and he's been a real danger, real thorn in the side for the Swiss this whole game.
Here's Bradshaw across, and good running. Griffiths couldn't get his stick out on it in the central area. See, the Gibraltar team have arrived just behind the pitch here in Uddingston. They are up next. At 7 o'clock, taking on the host Scotland. If you're local, you can still grab a ticket for it to come down and watch, or you can watch it with us. Up long it goes from Francis here for Wales, looking to continue to add goals to the tally. Here comes Reinhardt for Switzerland. Krusy. Fluke. Just coming off Cyril Roth there. Hutchison for Wales. Lovely, keeps it in the Welsh path there, and towards the edge of the circle, and Hutchison trying to keep it alive. It just been taken off his toes there, and Switzerland will get the chance to clear. Rodri Furlong. Wall. And doesn't find anyone in the black colours. Well, after the decent Commonwealth Games run, Wales will be looking forward to the contest against Scotland tomorrow. They just narrowly got the better of Scotland in the Four Nations tournament ahead of the Commonwealth Games. And just trickling out by the baseline. They finished up in 3rd place in that mini tournament, beating the USA. Scotland narrowly losing out to Ireland.
Yeah, the Welsh will take heart from that recent result against Scotland. I think they'll look at that and think, you know they can beat them, and Scotland are at home, that always helps. But having been here and beaten them at home fairly recently, Welsh should be looking at that as a positive. Probably at the back of the mind, though, for some of them will be the game at the European Championships in 2017, where they led against Scotland, the chance to win, and then 2 late goals from Scotland turned it on its head. Maybe I can imagine there'll be a few comments about that tomorrow if it gets a bit feisty.
Yeah, I think that was the game that both had qualified for the Euro Hockey Championships, but they were about 11 minutes away from beating Scotland and winning the mini tournament.
A lot of the players know each other as well from playing club hockey, and some GB teammates and people have played each other. A lot of these guys have played each other all the way through age group. We play Wales quite a lot. Obviously easy to get to and easy for them to come here, so we face them quite a lot. the guys know each other really well. That'll add a little bit of spice to things tomorrow, no doubt.
Yep, the Welsh players, like the Scots play in England. Right across it comes, keeper then got a touch in there. Switzerland trying to just get it away, but going to be a penalty corner here to finish off the game in the final 15 seconds.
There's about 15 seconds to go, but it's another penalty corner for Wales.
Not really sure why Wales are discussing at the top. They've gone to Gareth Furlong every single time.
Wonder there's an element of tactics to maybe keep hold of one or two things for tomorrow, because it's when they've went the same route for much of the game, particularly when the game's been won. It's going to be Bradshaw this time to inject. Final play pretty much, unless another penalty corner. Here is Gareth Furlong, it's went through the keeper. He has got 4 and Wales have 8. Gareth Furlong is at it again from a penalty corner.
Good corner to finish on from Furlong. Trap wasn't quite clean and he had to adjust, but actually probably is one of his best flicks of the whole game there, right into the corner, really gets hold of it. It's pretty much unstoppable for the post player.
Well, Wales back in 2017, Glasgow put 9 past Switzerland. They put 8 past them here to get their qualifying tournament underway with an emphatic win. Impressive performance from them. It was a tough first quarter. Switzerland made it hard. Even at spells, Switzerland were decent in the second quarter, had little moments. That clinical moment, probably, Keith, in the game was those 2 goals just before half time.
That definitely changed the momentum. Went from being Wales kind of struggling a wee bit and it just wasn't quite connecting in attack, and they were forcing things, and suddenly 2 goals, they can relax. The game's basically won at that point, and they can just focus on doing what they need to do to see the game out, and they also know at that point, you know, Switzerland, it's a long way back for them, and they're also thinking about they've got 2 more games to play. Do they chase this game, or do they try and shut up shop and focus on game 2 and game 3?
And as we touched on with Switzerland earlier, the game against Gibraltar will be fairly exciting.
Yeah, both teams will have, you know, coming into that game, Switzerland expect to win. Yeah, I think they'll have also targeted the Scotland and Wales and look to get something from that and disrupt those teams at least, and, you know, try and come out of something in those games. But for them and Gibraltar, that's the game that they'll be looking to win and pick up some crucial ranking points.
Just seeing the goals now. Hopefully get some post-match reaction in a couple of moments too. But that was the first, which feels a little while ago now, and it all really kicked off from there. And I say Wales had to work hard in those first at least 25 minutes of the 2 quarters to pick out their goals.
They did, probably worked a little bit too hard in a way. It wasn't quite flowing, and they were not quite relaxed enough for the chances that they were creating to really make the most of them. Those 2 goals sort of settle things down, and then, as you said earlier on, the 2 quickly before half time just really relaxed them.
And then Wales will be back tomorrow evening, a 7 o'clock start. They'll be playing Scotland at 7 o'clock tomorrow back here.
Penalty corners have been very much a story of this game, and Wales been part of. If you mentioned, if not scoring straight away, they've been excellent. This one was straight away, but other penalty corners, the second phase, they've cleaned up the job and scored from them.
I think just making sure that, obviously, when you've got a good drag flicker, you want to use them as much as possible. You said earlier on about trying to keep something up their sleeve. I'm sure that's been part of the reason why they've only gone to Furlong every time. But also, that second phase is so important, just being able to keep it alive and make sure that, yeah, the initial chance is over, but can you make something out of what's happened as a result?
Scotland will be facing Gibraltar.
Moving to the second half of the game, and Wales continued their dominance. But a third quarter, Switzerland just could not get into the quarter at all.
No, I mean, it's hard. This goal was really the kind of killer, really early into the second half. Excellent goal, definitely the goal of the game. and from that point it definitely killed off any hopes that Swiss might have harboured of a comeback.
Fairly straightforward. Gareth Furlong hat-trick was completed with the penalty stroke, and one of those, it was a sore one to the knee, the Swiss player, but you can see the penalty corner because of it, doubly sore.
Again, this is just Wales able to keep the ball alive after the initial corner comes off the post. They're first to the rebound. It's a bit scrappy, but they use the advantage in numbers to finally finish at home.
Shipperley with his hat-trick, and Gareth Furlong would still have time to add to his tally.
Watching again, I'm not sure if the ball comes out the circle cleanly there, it's hard to tell. It's a missed trap at the top, doesn't get it cleanly, but all credit to Furlong. It's a difficult one to pick up, but he really gets his feet round it and right into the corner. Really difficult for the post player to do anything about. He gets something on it, but not enough to keep it out.
So hopefully get some post-match reaction shortly from the winning side. So Wales will be back to do it all over again against Scotland, and I mean, so you don't want to say anything or tempt fate, particularly if you're a Wales or Scotland supporter, but there has been a lot of eyeballs on the fact that Scotland will play Wales, second game of the tournament of this pool, and the feeling is that will be the one that will decide who tops the table come Saturday afternoon. Mouth-watering kind of game to have on the Thursday night here in Uddingston.
It is, and I think anyone that's free will want to come down and watch that, because it's set up nicely. It's often with the tournaments it kind of comes down to the last day. Here's one that could potentially be sorted out by day two, apart from just doing the job on the final game. But it's a pretty exciting tie. Both teams, not much between them, as you said earlier on. Wales just sort of sneaked it recently in the kind of warm-up tournament here, but Scotland will be hoping with a sold-out crowd, or close to a sold-out crowd, that they'll be able to roar them over the line, and they'll be desperate to prove themselves and earn a place back in the top division, Europe.
Absolutely. There is obviously still one match to come, and if you are still local and nearby, you can still get a ticket for this one tonight. Scotland against Gibraltar. Tickets available tomorrow as well. Saturday sold out, but we'll have the coverage here, so you can't make it or you can't get a ticket now. You sure you can enjoy the atmosphere from home or wherever you will be watching this mini tournament. And we touched on earlier as well that this change the format of this now as a qualifier to get to the main Euro Hockey instead of being based on previous years before. First time they've done this since 2003, so interested to see how this develops, this mini format, as it decides the placings for the Euro Hockey qualifiers for the Euro Hockey tournaments next year at the various levels. So Scotland to come against Gibraltar, and I think we can get some reaction now from the winning side. Let's head down to Jocko de Witt, who's pitch side.
So we are here at the Euro Hockey Championships qualifying for next year, the EHC 2023. Gareth Furlong is with me. 8-0, 4 goals from you, and 2 in 1 minute. How did that feel?
Yeah, we've obviously just come off the back of the Commonwealth game, so kind of 2 weeks rest, and then straight back into it. So really happy to start with a good win.
And tomorrow, big game coming up. What's your expectation?
Yeah, we play against each other a lot. Obviously, I think the last time we beat them 2-1, but they've also beaten us in a couple of close games recently as well. So it'll be a really tight game, and I guess corners will be an important part tomorrow. So we need to pick it up a little bit again, and put in another strong performance.
Thank you and good luck.
No problem. Thank you.
So, reaction there from Wales as they get off to a great start. Thanks to Keith for the moment. There'll be more coverage ahead of the game at 7 o'clock at Scotland against Gibraltar. Do rejoin us then, but we'll leave things for the moment with Wales victors in the opening game of this tournament, 8-0 against Switzerland.
seconds to breathe.
Okay.
And members of the public are all welcome. Joseph Kitano,
And welcome to Uddingston Hockey Club for the second of today's Euro Hockey qualifiers between Scotland and Gibraltar. My name is Stephen Bark. I'll be taking you through this one. We've heard from both Derek Forsyth and Dave Robeson, the two coaches for today's match. So here is Derek first up, giving you the view from the Scotland camp.
Brian Duo, Lee Dobinson, and substitute goalkeeper Henry Emmett. Gibraltar.
So we are here at the Euro Hockey Championships qualifiers for next year's tournament in Mönchengladbach. With me is Derek Forsyth, Scottish coach.
Hi there.
What are your expectations of this tournament?
Well, I think like all teams, we want to be in Mönchengladbach next year. So our goal is to try and win this tournament to make sure we're at that tournament next year.
So heading up for a big game tomorrow night, huh?
Well, I think we've got to get through this game first. You know, one game at a time. You know, we obviously we're aware of Wales will be a big game for us, but let's get through this one first, and then we'll see how we're travelling tomorrow.
Thanks. We are here at the Euro Hockey Championship qualifiers for next year's championships in August 2023. With me is Dave Robeson, coach of Gibraltar.
Assistant coach, our coach is playing, so otherwise disposed at the minute. So.
No worries. What is your expectation of this tournament?
Enjoyment mainly. We've got a very inexperienced squad. 8 people haven't played international hockey before. It's been a hard summer. Those that are here deserve it. They've worked really hard in a hot summer in Gib with a pitch that wasn't available all the time. So we're here on merit. Enjoyment, and we're not here to lose. You know, we're not here aiming to lose. We're going to compete. We look to take points in every game. We have to work hard. Things have to go our way, obviously, but we're not playing on losing. We're here to enjoy, fight for every ball, and let's see where we are at the end of that.
Thank you.
And that the view from Dave Robeson, the Gibraltar coach, ahead of this one, Scotland versus Gibraltar. I am joined in the commentary box this afternoon by Keith Smith. Keith, how are you?
Yeah, fine, thanks. Looking forward to the game.
Just quickly go through the two team lines then. For Scotland, starting in goal is Thomas Alexander, and we also have Russell Anderson, Callum Duke, Michael Bremner, Andy Bull, Alan Forsyth, the captain for today, Robert Field, Rob Harwood, Lee Morton, Murray Collins, Jamie Golden, David Nairn, Duncan Riddell, Robbie Shepherdson, Edward Greaves, David Forrester, Callum McKenzie and Struan Walker. For Gibraltar, in goal is Joseph Borg, and ahead of him will be Ethan Balban, Jorgen Haviland, Carol Ramage, Jack Cox, Joseph Kitano, John Paul Hernandez, Nicholas Pilcher, Shane Ramage, the captain, Bertol Faller, Craig Bassano Anis, Eric Abudaram, Julian Lopez, Julian Hernandez, Lee Ramage, Giant Dio, Lee Dobinson and Henry Emmett. Had a chance to have a look at those two teams. Keith, who stands out for you?
I think Scotland have got lots of really talented players in there, and they'll be looking to use the experience. I think Alan Forsyth and Michael Bremner, each of them have more caps than the whole Gibraltar squad, and I think that'll be the key today, is that Scots have got loads of guys with 50 plus caps, and they'll be looking to just use that experience and ease their way into the game and come out with the result that they want.
Scotland, of course, were competing at the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham just a few days ago. It doesn't seem like that long ago at all. Gibraltar, on the other hand, have had the summer off. Will that have an effect on the two teams?
I think we saw at Birmingham that the Scottish guys are capable of scoring against some of the best teams in the world, and really kind of going toe to toe with those guys. They'll be looking to probably sharpen up defensively, I'd say, a wee bit. They're possibly a little bit disappointed with some of the defensive elements of the game at the Commonwealth Games, but you know, they've come straight off that. A really good experience for them, and they kind of kick on straight into this and build. For Gibraltar, coming into this with just a bit of warm up, it really doesn't prepare you for that same level. So I'd expect Scots to be pretty sharp today.
Of course, Gibraltar losing to the Scottish Under-21 side in one of their warm-up matches, so I'm sure the A side, as it is today, will be confident ahead of this one.
Yeah, the 21s won 4-0, I think, and it probably wasn't the kind of full 21 squad, just with availability and things. So I think looking at that, the Scots will be pretty confident that the senior squad can do the job here. But warm-up games are just warm-up games. You're keeping things in check. You're not wanting to show too much. You're just trying to sharpen up in certain areas. So I reckon Gibraltar will come out. We heard Dave Robson, the assistant coach, beforehand saying they're going to fight for every ball, and based on what I've heard from the game against the 21s, I could expect a real battle here from the Gibraltar team, and just to try and impose themselves and at least show that they can compete physically.
Earlier on today, of course, Wales defeating Switzerland 8-0. They are Scotland's next opponents. Gibraltar will play Switzerland tomorrow as well. Psychologically, you've seen Wales go out and do that. How does that make you? Does that change your approach to this game?
I don't think so. From a Scottish point of view, they'll be expecting Wales to go and do that job. They know that doesn't really impact. I think what impacts Scotland is the need to go and just do their job and pose themselves as best they can.
The Gibraltar national anthem there, and now time for Flower of Scotland. Were you one to sing the anthem, or?
No, I just stand and watch everyone else do it. My singing voice is terrible, so it's probably better for everyone if I don't get involved.
I always find it interesting when you see different players' approaches to the anthem. Some of them very serious, very ready for the game, others getting right behind, I guess, a wee bit emotional sometimes as well.
Yeah, I think each to their own. Some people use it as motivation, some people just want to be focused and maybe don't want that emotion to cloud anything, and I don't know, there's a couple of guys maybe just don't know the words sometimes.
So for Scotland then, Alexander starting in goal. We've got Bremner, Bull, Forsyth, Martin, Collins, Golden, Nairn, Riddell, Shepperton and Greaves, who will be taking us from the start. The rolling subs of course coming on as and when required for Gibraltar. From the start, Borg, Balvin, Haviland, Cox, Kitano, Hernandez, Pelcher, Shane Ramage, Fowler, Abdurrahman, Lopez and Julian Hernandez will be the starting players. Scotland coach Derek Forsyth there. Ready for this one, are you?
Yeah, looking forward to it. I think it'll be good to see Scotland playing at home after the Commonwealth Games, and hopefully this will ease them into what will pretty much be a crunch game against Wales tomorrow.
Yeah, the two favourites, I guess, for this round robin, Scotland and Wales, meeting in the middle's kind of. You hope that really that kind of game is at the end, don't you, to build up to it?
You would hope so, but I think from a kind of player's point of view, you just want to play it whenever. You know, that's the game that they know is probably going to be make or break, as long as they do the business elsewhere. Wales have done that with the first game so far. Scotland looking to do that against Gibraltar today, set themselves up, and you know, if you can get the 3 points tomorrow in that game, then you just have to be professional and see it out. It's not always how a tournament works in terms of where you need to peak, but you just have to kind of cope with the challenges that are in front of you.
Well, Scotland will get this one going. Forsyth there, ready and waiting, and Scotland get their qualifiers underway. That is quite the prize at the end of it, isn't it?
It is. It's good. You know, I think a lot of teams around sort of Scotland's level, Wales level, where they're kind of wanting to be in the top division all the time, but aren't always there. For those teams, it's really good to kind of have that second chance at it, and also it's another competitive tournament for, you know, outside sort of the pro league teams. You're not always playing in top competition, so the more that you can get international hockey, more experience, grow as a team, it all helps, and having that chance to play every year in that we're not playing a European Championship, it allows us to do that.
Dylan Collins there at the back, just looking for an opening to bring Scotland forward. Going to try from the opposite side this time. It's a good ball forward for Greaves as well.
You see early on that Gibraltar looking like they're setting up in a fairly standard man-to-man sort of defensive structure, and Scotland will just be looking to be patient and manipulate that and find space and take the opportunities as they come.
Looked early again for Greaves there, but just a little bit high for him.
Yeah, slightly, you know, that aerial pass is so difficult to play and that accurately, but the fact he's getting that space early on is encouraging. It's the right pass, just keep finding those gaps and hopefully the chances will come.
Bremner wide. And back for Bull. Just looking for an opening, Scotland. Greaves in the corner. It's well intercepted, and Haviland there trying to get it clear. But that will be the first penalty corner of the match for Scotland.
Good counter-attack by Scotland, just nipping in, winning the ball back, and just a good bit of composure in the D. Didn't rush it, took the reward that they wanted, got the corner, and a good chance to put themselves 1-0 up pretty early on.
Duncan Riddell then over the ball. Morton and Shepherdson central.
I think it'll be Jamie Golden flicking this one.
And it is there. Good save by the goalkeeper. But Scotland will get a second chance.
Yeah, probably a nice height for the keeper. Just comfortable at glove height for him to make the save. But Scotland instantly got the chance to do one better this time.
Second look at it there. And Golden again this time. Scotland take the lead.
Good goal from Scotland there. Just a slight change at the top. They just changed the angle as it comes into the trapper. He just moves the ball slightly. Just allows Jamie Golden to evade that penalty corner defence and get a different angle on the shot. Well taken.
Gibraltar 0.
An early goal then for the hosts. Exactly what they were looking for after that Wales game earlier on, yes?
Yeah, I think, you know, as you said before, you know what you're going to have to come in to do it, but you're watching that thinking, right, Wales have set down a bit of a marker, we need to go and do the same, and the best way to do that is to score early on, settle those nerves, and you can just relax and try and play good hockey and get those goals as they come.
Gibraltar then looking to try and hit back quickly if they can. Comes back for Fowler there. Nice little spell of possession this for Gibraltar.
Scotland just sort of sitting off Gibraltar when they've got the ball and not putting them under loads of pressure. I think probably the idea is just to sit and force Gibraltar to make play and try and pick off any technical mistakes they make and hit them on the counter-attack.
Riddell in there. That goes the way of Gibraltar as well. Played into the circle. I think they were hoping for a little bit more there.
Yeah, they were certainly hoping for a corner. There was a shout from the bench below us, but nothing given.
Julian Lopez then. Brought forward by Shane Ramage. And this time it goes the way of Scotland. The attack breaks down. Good defending there by Duncan Riddell.
Yeah, decent bit spell of kind of high pressure, high possession from Gibraltar there. Couldn't really fashion anything from it, but they'll be content for the ball to be up that end more than having to defend their own goal.
It's a bit of a slack pass as well for Scythe, and a chance this perhaps for Scotland. Can't quite turn in the circle there.
Really good opportunity, and actually, do you know what? Fair play to the Gibraltar defence. They got back and crowded the counter out and just got numbers around it, made it difficult. And Scotland didn't panic, didn't rush, but ultimately Gibraltar able to just scramble it clear.
Carl Ramage forwards there, and a chance now for Hernandez. The umpire not happy with something.
He's signalling for some use of the elbow, kind of body contact. A fairly forceful whistle early on. I suspect we might see a few cards, and if that's how they're going to take the approach, how physical the game might be.
Yaroslav Suchoki and Xavier Finert, the umpires for this one. Murray Collins with the ball forwards. Gibraltar with the chance to clear, but still under pressure. Could turn that by Morton. And a chance almost. And this time over the line. And a second goal for Scotland early on.
I think it's maybe Rob Harwood that gets the final touch. A real poacher's finish. Just waiting there. Probably going in already, but always better to make sure that goes in, and always good to get your name on the score sheet and get your numbers up.
Yeah, on the line, Rob Harwood there. Very difficult to miss from there.
It is, yeah, and you know, Rob's always been good at that. He kind of sniffs out those opportunities. He's always in a good position. You see, he scores a lot of goals like that in the domestic league here, and he's got a real kind of poacher's instinct for those ones. I'm not sure his teammates will be quite so happy that that one was taken if it was going in, but we've got to make sure it goes in.
Field there challenged illegally, so. And out wide for Mackenzie. Can see what he was trying there, Alan Forsyth. Didn't quite come off for him. Scotland will get a second chance through the Riddell though. And Gibraltar can get that one clear. Might be a chance to break forwards as well. Almost so close. A crucial interception there by Russell Anderson. Otherwise that could have been a great chance for Craig Busano-Anes.
It was a good spot. They didn't look like he had much passing options there as he broke out. Scotland managed to get 4 players in front of him, but managed to sort of thread it through their little defensive zone. And Russell Anderson there just able to sweep it up, using all his experience to be in the right place at the right time.
those are the kinds of opportunities that Gibraltar are going to have to make the most of if they want to get something from today's game. Callum Duke there. Again, Gibraltar happy enough with Scotland playing it around at the back. Good ball forward, looking for Morton. Into the circle for Morton. Well, a decent opening there after the free hit, but couldn't make the most of it.
Demonstrates how effective Lee Morton can be when you can get him in a bit of space to go 1v1 against players, sometimes 1v2, 1v3. He's got a lot of exceptional dribbling ability. He's really fast, really quick hands, and fashioned a great opportunity for himself there.
Duke looks up, finds Forsyth into the circle, and a great chance that for Struan Walker. That's high over the net of Joseph Borg.
Just got under it with a stick. A really well fashioned opportunity. Good play by Scotland. Well worked, and Struan Walker as well to get himself into that position. Just a little bit more composure of the finish.
Quickly under pressure from Morton there. Julian Lopez.
Inside first, Jamie!
Chance to bring it forward now for Kitano. Drive. Comes into a bit of a bundle of bodies that just can't get through, and Gibraltar forced back the way.
See Scotland just not really committing lots of numbers to win the ball. Happy to try and put one player in. You're going to go 1v1 and try and pick the ball up, conserving a bit of energy, not chasing it all over the pitch, and not opening themselves up to potential gaps for Gibraltar to play through.
Back for Collins. Could of course be important for tomorrow, just conserving that little bit of energy before coming up against Wales in what you imagine will be the most important of the three games.
It's always a bit of a trade-off in tournament hockey that you want good performances and you obviously want to pick up the points as you go, but you always have an eye on the longer term. Anyone that says they're not thinking about any other games, it's a bit of a cliche, one game at a time, but you have to think about how you manage yourself through the whole tournament, and it's only natural that teams will do that.
And Gibraltar a chance to get forward. Now Pelcher there with the free hit. They have committed numbers, but Scotland just able to keep them at bay at the moment.
Yeah, you can see Gibraltar, as you say, committing numbers forward, and it does leave quite a lot of space in the middle of the pitch if Scotland are able to win it to counter into it. Not a lot of kind of counter cover from Gibraltar there when they're building up, but we'll see if Scotland can capitalise on that as the game goes on.
There for Duke and Bull now. And Scotland look to build from the back. Bill again looks up, takes time to survey his options. Good ball through, that did come off the foot though of Jamie Golden.
Difficult pick up that when you're leading in that direction. Ball's kind of coming outside your left foot, to be able to get round it, get your left hand out and get the stick to control it, especially when the ball's coming at that pace.
Ramage looks to get it into the circle first time. Bit of a mistake though from Anderson, and that's let Gibraltar come all the way forward. Taken early as well. And the call goes against the Gibraltarians there. Almost a wee opening for them. Riddell, that's cut out well by Lopez. It's nice then field for Bremner.
As has entered the final 2 minutes of the first quarter. Less than 2 minutes of the first quarter to go.
And well, that is the penalty corner there. The umpire not happy.
Penalty corner to Scotland.
He's given that because the Gibraltar player wasn't 5 metres. Probably a little bit harsh there. He didn't engage with play, didn't try and stop Michael Bremner carrying it in, and Bremner who's in probably a bit disappointed to pull it back because I think he saw the goal and he had time to shoot. Doesn't score loads and loads of goals, so probably be a bit annoyed he didn't get the chance to bag on there.
Well, they got their first from a penalty corner at Scotland. Leaves it for Golden again. Saved well.
Same routine there from Scotland, just moving the ball at the top of the circle to try and change the angle. Jamie Golden just not able to quite get hold of it the same way that time.
Kitano there now. Gibraltar looking to get men forward quickly. Scotland have numbers back though. Kitano again. Will have to go alone in the corner there and does well. Lopez. Let's come all the way back for Cox. Runs well. Forced back again though, and that's a bit of a slack pass as well. They'll let Scotland come forwards. Taken quickly by Forsyth.
Yeah, it's really well defended. Great vision by Alan Forsyth there to spot Jamie Golden making that run. Pass over the top was almost inch perfect. Well defended.
Bremner. Back for Bull. And then from Mackenzie.
Well worked opportunity there. Scotland just patient, finding the gap and delivering to the player in the D when the channel opened up. Just couldn't quite get it on target. Just a difficult angle to make sure you're being working the keeper from that side.
And the hooter goes for the end of the first quarter at Ringston Cricket Club. It is
that's the end of the first quarter.
Scotland 2, Gibraltar 0. A good start to the game for the hosts.
Yeah, I think Scotland don't really look like they've got out of first gear yet. I have to say that they're just sort of sitting off, not putting Gibraltar under loads of pressure when they're building up.
Just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, boys and
conserve
girls,
a bit of energy. And in possession, Scotland have been pretty patient so far. I think the message there for Forsyth will just be to kind of keep working the Gibraltars, keep moving them, keep manipulating them. The gaps will open up, particularly as they get tired chasing the Scots all over the pitch.
Starting off at 4:45 p.m. when Switzerland will take on Gibraltar.
Instructions to
and then tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock, Scotland will play Wales.
They haven't done too badly this opening quarter, have they?
No, I think they'd be pretty happy with that. They've defended pretty well.
At 10:45, Wales will play Gibraltar, followed by at 1 o'clock, Switzerland v Scotland.
And actually, they've used the ball relatively well. I've been quite impressed with them so far. They've been
hopefully you enjoyed the hockey.
Big numbers to attack. They've come here to try and take the game to Scotland a wee bit. We'll just see if they've got the quality this
tickets are still available for tomorrow. However, Saturday is
punish
sold
Scotland a wee
out.
bit
There are
more,
no
make
tickets
that
left
possession
available for
count.
Saturday. But there are still tickets for tomorrow.
For Scotland, it's just more of the same, I guess.
You can buy tickets for £5 per person.
Like, these games are difficult. You know, you
website.
should win on paper. You should win quite comfortably. You're expected to win.
You can find out more information about the tickets.
If you win 8-0, you've just done what's expected. If you don't, and that brings a certain pressure with it, and you just got to kind of, you know, just get on with it and just say, well, embrace that. It's just a different challenge. You say, well, we've got to be professional, workmanlike, do your jobs, and not going to get drawn into other aspects of the game and chasing a score. Just going to trust the game plan is right and you're going to do the right things and hopefully get the result you want at the end of it.
Struan Walker, they're ready to get the second quarter.
We're ready to go for the second quarter. Let's get behind the teams again.
Good start from Scotland, 2-0 up after the first 15 minutes and quickly looking forwards as well.
And that's twice they've restarted with that ball over the top. Can't quite see if they're looking to actually get somebody on the ball, if they're almost hoping the Gibraltar team will bring it down and then they can get numbers around and take it off them.
So well intercepted there as well. A chance to bring it forward for Nairn. Into the circle as well. Cuts it back across and might be a chance to shoot if there weren't quite so many bodies round about Robert Field there. Scotland still have it, and that's a good save from Lee Morton.
Just didn't quite catch it as he wanted to there. You can see Lee's frustrated with it. Good opportunity. It's kind of stuck in his feet a little bit. Couldn't quite get it out his feet enough to really make contact, but he'd be disappointed he hasn't scored there.
Good stop by Borg as well in the Gibraltar goal. It's a good turn there, and it will be the possession for Scotland. Of Collins. Collins again looks up, gets it into the circle, just not towards the goal, but high over, and the call had gone against Scotland anyway.
Yeah, I think just uncontrolled there from David Nairn. It wasn't really a shot, I think he just miscontrolled it. Slightly bobbled pass and wasn't able to get it under control. Awarded to the Gibraltars for danger.
It's early into the circle as well, looking for Lozano Anes. Just added a little bit too much of him there if he was going to try and get on the end of it.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a speculative pass. I mean, fair play to Gibraltar again. They're stretching Scotland's defensive structure, getting players in behind and kind of committing players to that, asking questions of Scotland, but just couldn't quite connect with the pass at that opportunity.
Forwards picked up by Walker, and that's a good turn by Walker. Fantastic.
That's a cracking goal, isn't it? A really good pick-up from Walker in the first instance. Not the easiest pick-up. Again, he's kind of bobbling, pressure on his back. Instant first touch. Really good bit of skill to just buy himself enough time to get the shot away. And wow, what a backhand that is. Just absolutely roofed it.
Almost looked like there was nothing on from there as well, and just pulls that out of the bag.
Yeah, he's got that ability. Really exciting young player. He's not scared to take a shot and have a go from quite difficult angles, and as you can see, when you can do that with it, no reason not to.
Kitano then for Gibraltar to try and hit back immediately after conceding the third goal of the game, but Scotland making it difficult for them at the moment. Tries to get that into the circle, that's well blocked. Well controlled too.
I think if Gibraltar want to take more opportunity of that high possession, they're going to have to move the Scottish defence more there. That's a couple of times they've had that free hit or restart high up the pitch, and they've just basically played it kind of straight down the channel it's been in, and they're not really setting up to move the ball to the other side of the pitch. Interesting to see if they change that as the game goes on.
Collins pass forward there, intercepted. Forwards from Bremner. Just trying to find that little opening in the Gibraltar defence as they work this forward. Scotland. Collins into the circle and a chance again for Walker.
Yeah, good save there. Gibraltar did well to keep out. Again, really good play by Scotland. Nice and patient to create the opportunity.
Again, another opportunity there for Scotland, and that ball has nicely nestled in there behind the Gibraltar flag as well.
Yeah, it's a good job they've got a lot more. I think somebody's going to have to get a ladder to get that one out. You can see what Scotland are trying to do. They're just being patient in that high possession, moving Gibraltar. Andy Bull on that left-hand side of the back three, that last kind of build-up, they're trying to get him free, but when he was under pressure, they just changed to the other side, got Collins free and created a great opportunity to score.
Picked up by Robert Field. Shepherdson forwards. Good pass in for Walker again. And just battered away by Borg, but penalty corner is given.
Yeah, I think that's. If I was the goalkeeper there, I'd be pretty disappointed with that. The ball's come up in the air. He's played at it. You're allowed to play at it now. Real change to 5 or 6 years ago, maybe a wee bit more actually, that you can actively play at the ball. He didn't play it towards a Scotland player. I feel a wee bit hard done by there. I think he's asking the umpire now just for a bit of clarification.
Deep in conversation, Borg and the umpire, as Alan Forsyth goes across to set the ball ready.
See Andy Bull, Struan Walker flicking here.
And it's for Walker, and it is 4-0. A perfectly executed penalty corner for Scotland.
Another goal for Scotland,
well
and this time it's a second one.
It's a difficult one for the keeper here. When he goes to the far castle and the flicker goes back across the goal, you can see there the keeper's unsighted. He might even take a little bit of a touch off the runner, but it's such a difficult one to save when they go back across, because you only see it really late, and Scotland would be pretty happy with this last couple of minutes.
Brace for Struan Walker there, extending the Scottish lead as we creep towards half-time.
Scotland definitely taking a bit more of a clinical approach in the D. They've created some really good chances, and probably a bit disappointed not to be further ahead at the moment, to be honest.
Kitano there, probably the furthest advanced Gibraltar had been, but not able to control in the circle. Out wide for Duke.
This is exactly where Scotland just want to be patient. You can see what they're trying to do. As a player, you've just got to accept that that pass didn't quite go where I wanted it. I've just got to build and go the other way.
Tries to get it across the circle there, and I think that's come off a foot and will be another. No, sorry, it's crossed the line, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's a free hit outside. I think just outside, hit his foot.
Cleared all the way to the back.
You can see the challenge that Gibraltar have now. They put people high and try to stretch the game in possession, but as they keep turning it over, it's a long distance. It's a lot of work you have to do to come back and defend, and you can see players now just a little bit more reluctant to go forward and commit to the attack and support the attack when they think that they might have to do 50 yards, sprint the other way just to get back and defend.
There's a lot of running up and down a hockey pitch. Scotland try and work the opportunity there, but the call goes against them, unfortunately.
You just see Scotland's patience, just moving them and waiting for the opportunity. That's probably having an impact on that as well. They know that Gibraltar know they're going to have to work hard defensively, and you're making those decisions all the time as a player, thinking, do I want to make that run? Do I want to go and support that when I'm going to have to cover back, and I know I've got to chase my player?
I've got step on through, steps on the through.
Follow there for Gibraltar back to the captain, Shane Ramage. A chance to drive forward there for John Paul Hernandez.
Brought back for not stopping the ball there, I think. Just good idea to try and play quickly, take the advantage while it's there, but didn't make any attempt to stop the ball.
Shane Ramage there forwards for Fowler. It's well intercepted by Collins too, but Gibraltar will have it back through Busano Anes. And almost as quickly as they've got it back, it's Scotland who can look forwards, with Lee Morton in possession. And Callum Duke, challenged by Busano Anes.
Yeah, a little bit smart there from Callum Duke, just using his stick to protect the ball a wee bit there. Definitely a foul, but definitely drew the Gibraltar player into that as well.
The free hit goes Scotland's way, just on the edge of the circle. Morton ready, gets it back front for Scythe. Morton not quite able to keep that one in though.
Lovely little interchange though, wasn't it, between Forsyth and Morton there, and you saw a really good example of how quickly Lee Morton's hands are. Just couldn't quite keep it under control, a bit too quick for himself there almost.
Fowler forwards. Temnor does well, and Mackenzie now for Scotland. Giving chase there is Julian Hernandez, the lone man up front for Gibraltar at the moment. Scotland can pick up in midfield. Tries to release Shepherdson there and does find him. Mackenzie, crossfield. And into the circle there, just deflected into the path of one, but away from the other. Illegally so.
I think the umpire's signalling for a third-party obstruction there, suggesting that two of the Gibraltarians kind of, one of them screened the other one and stopped the Scottish player getting to it, but probably a little bit harsh there. Not sure that Scotland were within playing distance.
Well, another opportunity for Scotland, and Duncan Riddell ready to inject.
We'll see another flick here from Jamie Golden.
And his left for Golden.
Good save by the keeper, a nice height for him. It's a save he probably should be making, but nonetheless he's had a few good saves this first half.
He has done well, and chance again for Scotland. The hit coming in from Harwood on the edge of the circle.
And that's just come off the post there, really unlucky from Scotland, fashioned the chance really well. Looked like it took a deflection on the way through. Come off the post.
And then again this time, they do find the back of the net, and it is Rob Harwood.
Rob Harwood there again, just demonstrating that kind of poacher's instinct right in front of the keeper, gets in front of his marker, and able to, as the ball pops up, just find the space past the keeper, slip it past him into the goal.
5, Gibraltar 0.
Second of the game then for Rob Harwood. A 5-star first half from Scotland. Nice to see the travelling support there with the Gibraltar flag flying high. Mackenzie and Walker there as they try to win back possession. The slack pass there, the keeper could do nothing about it despite his best efforts. And Scotland take this quickly as they look to take advantage, and almost a sixth there. Still a chance here. Shepherdson has support there from Mackenzie. A good play from Scotland there. There wasn't an opening, so recycling possession.
They've been good at that the whole game. Scotland really patient, just not kind of getting drawn into a running game. You know, a bit of ping pong back and forth, just conserving energy and recognising, you know, when to go forward and when to recycle.
Duke forwards. Well taken in by Walker on a hat-trick as well. Tries to work into the box, gets a chance, and Struan Walker rounds up a hat-trick.
Yeah, that was even better than his first goal. Lovely bit of individual skill there to eliminate the player. Doesn't quite get to go on his backhand as he wanted. Bit of 3D, and wow, what a finish. Not going to stop that.
Well, second top scorer then in the competition, Walker. 3 goals in the first half here.
That's it inside the final 2 minutes of the first half. Just less than 2 minutes to go.
Forwards from field. Just too many Gibraltar bodies round about when Pilcher there can pinch possession. Down goes Julian Lopez, a little bit spectacularly, but doesn't get anything for his troubles.
That was a good tackle by Callum Mackenzie. Just got really low, strong body position, and the ball was there to be won. He won it. And Gibraltar player just ran straight into him.
And that comes wide for David Nairn. Forwards from Bremner. Chance for Riddell to run. Bremner again. Having to go round Julian Hernandez. Anderson back. Bremner forwards. Still down the wing. Golden tried to turn there, didn't quite work for him, but we'll get the free hit. Golden again, into the circle, and I think that's went against Scotland, hasn't it?
Yeah, again I think for obstruction. Well, Scotland probably unlucky not to get a corner just before that. I'm not sure. Gibraltar were five metres from the restart.
That was my first thought as well when I saw that. Into the circle straight away, and Walker might get a chance at a fourth as the hooter goes. Tried to get something in those dying seconds, and well, Jamie Walker's got the skill to, sorry, Struan Walker's got the skill to produce there, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised he didn't just try and take it first time, go past the keeper. That's the sort of thing he would try, but you know, the play to be recognised actually had numbers around, probably guys who were running through in a better position to score. Just time just ran away.
Half time then, Scotland at 6, Gibraltar 0. Struan Walker hat-trick, the standout player of that first half, would you say?
I mean, you saw the individual skill he had and how ruthless he is with his finishing. Probably a wee bit disappointed he had another couple of chances. He had a chance on his backhand early on before he scored, and another chance. But you know, I think you can't be disappointed with the first half hat-trick.
We'd like to welcome you all to the clubhouse.
We can take a look at some of the highlights from that first half. The early penalty corners that got Scotland the opening.
Yeah, you see just a little shift at the top there for Jamie Golden, just totally changes the angle, makes it really difficult for the runners to get across, and just buys Golden enough time to get his flick away. Good finish.
got Scotland well on their way, and it was Rob Harwood who added to the lead. A poacher's goal.
It was, yeah, right place, right time. I think you can see it, I can't see, is it Rob Field maybe who gets the initial shot, and you can see he's kind of going away celebrating, and then looks back and realises that Rob's knocked it over the line ahead of it.
And a good chance there for Lee Morton.
Yeah, you could tell afterwards, you could hear from the pitch that Lee was frustrated with that, but a difficult one. He can't quite get it out his feet enough because the Gibraltar defender's there, but a good chance for him.
And that's that little bit of individual skill that got Struan Walker his first.
Yeah, it's a really good angle. You can see the movement just to get on it. He's got pressure at his back, but little Jink just buys himself just enough space to get that finish away. And when you can shoot like that, that's all you're going to need, just that half a yard. The keeper didn't have a chance.
Twitter,
Give him an inch, he'll take a mile.
Facebook.
Another penalty score. Scotland did find a bit of success from the penalty corners.
Yeah, I mean, it's taken a couple of good saves by Joseph Borg in the goal to keep it just to 2 corners. He's made a couple of good saves from them. Probably a little bit unlucky there. It does take a deflection off the runner.
They played their first game of the tournament earlier on today and ran out 4-0 winners against Austria. So a great start for Scotland's women.
Second then of Struan Walker's 3, and then Rob Harwood got his second.
Yeah, really clever play by Rob there. You can see just uses his body to hold off his marker, just buys himself a little bit of space to receive it. First touch eliminates the defender, and second one just pop it past the keeper.
And then the final action really of this first half, another bit of individual brilliance from Struan Walker.
It really was. I didn't think he could have improved on his the first goal he scored, but this one was superb. Lovely bit of skill there, sets it up nicely, and when the ball sits up like that, it's a pretty inviting opportunity just to hit it like that.
Well, thank you very much for your company, Keith, for this first half. Scotland at 6-0 up against Gibraltar. We'll be back in a few minutes for the second half.
Just a reminder, this is day 1 of 3 in the Euro Hockey Championship qualifier. The final matches will be played on Saturday, and it is a sellout. There are no tickets available, but there are still tickets available for tomorrow evening. And there's going to be a couple of crunch games tomorrow evening. First off at 4:45 tomorrow, Switzerland will be playing Gibraltar. And then what looks like being an absolute classic, a real big game. Scotland will be playing Wales at 7 o'clock. Wales starting off with an 8-0 win earlier on today. Scotland will be taking on at 7 o'clock tomorrow. Tickets are still available for £5 per person via the Scottish Hockey website. Not long till we get underway again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the pitch, Scotland! And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, put your hands together and welcome back to the pitch, Gibraltar!
Welcome back then for the second half. Both teams out and almost ready to go. Scotland 6 up from that first half hour. A very, very productive half hour from the hosts.
I think they'll be really happy with that. We talked about them, you know, they've not really got out with first or second gear at the moment. They're just being smart, not kind of getting drawn into a game where, you know, I said earlier on that you can't really win these games in terms of the expectation. You're expected to win by you know, a large margin, and actually if you chase the scoreline and try and score goals and force things, that's often when it gets difficult. And you know, so far it's been a really mature performance from Scotland in that respect. They've taken the time, moved the ball. We talked about them recycling it a lot earlier on. It's exactly what they've done. You know, I think Derek Forsyth would like them to be a bit more clinical, probably pick up the pace of the passing a wee bit just to make those gaps a wee bit bigger, but you know, I think we'll be pretty happy with the general approach so far.
For Gibraltar, what do you think the goal is in this second half?
I think, you know, the first quarter they had quite a lot of possession high up. They didn't really fashion any chances, but they had an opportunity to get the ball into the square circle and maybe make something happen. Second quarter they really struggled to do that, so you know, from a you know, obviously they want to score 6 goals and get themselves back in the game, but I think realistically they'll just need to have a bit more possession higher up and try and fashion some chances and just kind of slowly ease themselves back into the game.
When you look at the scoring as well, 2 in the first quarter, 4 in the second quarter, that the way Gibraltar played, the way that they got forwards, did have an impact on the score.
It did, and it possibly had an impact the other way in that, you know, was they tried to get forward. You know, in the first quarter, it kept the ball away from their goal, but the downside of that was that they then exposed themselves, and you know, the fatigue set in a wee bit. They were forced to sit deeper and deeper.
There is Ethan Balban ready to get the second half going at Urringston.
We just get it by hand.
It's a lovely evening for
I'm going to go and do this.
some hockey in the west of Scotland.
And Gibraltar just doing to Scotland what Scotland have done to Gibraltar with their 2 restarts so far, just playing aerial into the corner and forcing Scotland to bring it down under pressure and play out, but they dealt with it really well.
And continuing as well from that first half, Scotland just patient build up, looking for the opportunity and then getting the ball forwards. Back from Greaves there. Gets it back, Edward Greaves. Forsyth. Losing out to opposite number, Joseph Catano. They can take it on a run as well, Catano.
We're too busy shouting at each other.
A slack touch though from Julian Lopez. Lee Ramage gets it central for the captain, Shane Ramage.
You see Scotland just kind of sitting off, not applying too much pressure, just forcing the ball one way, keeping it one side of the pitch, and encouraging Gibraltar to play longer. It's harder to pick up, and you just kind of pick up the scraps and regain the ball without too much effort on your own part.
Being 6-0 up, of course, there is no real pressure on the Scots. They can play how they like. Ball comes into the circle again, and a very early penalty corner at the start of this second half.
Good play by David Nairn. I think his first touch there as he picks up in the baseline isn't quite what you'd want, but he improvises well and he recognises the defender's committed, got low. He's probably overcommitted a wee bit, and he's able to just wrap it off his feet and earn the corner.
2 goals already from penalty corners for the hosts. Side there ready, they'll be looking to add to their tally. 1 each for Walker and Golden.
Scotland got a lot of options from the top.
Leaves it for Walker. Played in again. Scotland trying more to get a second penalty corner there as the ball was out wide, but it broke kindly for Gibraltar.
Yeah, just stopping playing there really to appeal, and the umpire wasn't for it. Good play by Gibraltar just to find the foot and return and ease the pressure.
Forward quickly for Kitano again, and the call going the way of Gibraltar, so chance to get some bodies forwards. Taken in there by Pelcher, but under pressure instantly, Nicholas Pelcher.
Again, Scotland just sitting and waiting for Gibraltar to play into their shape, encouraging those sort of longer passes that gives them a little bit more time to either pick off the, read the ball and jump in for an intercept, or just creep up and take the player.
This could be the first chance for Gibraltar. It's a good stop. Fell for Balban, and Gibraltar will have their first penalty corner of the game.
It's a well-worked opportunity for Gibraltar, and forced a good save by Tommy Alexander. I think he'll feel a wee bit hard done by there that the corner has been given. He's absolutely blasted into his pads from a yard or two away. He can't control the height it comes out, but that's what's been given. You just got to focus on the job and keep this one out.
Ethan Balban then with the first chance for Gibraltar in this game, and a very decent second chance coming up for them. The damage there, and a good chance again. It's came off a foot and its way through.
Looked like it maybe just came off the first runner, took a deflection, but that was a fairly moving that corner. If you can get hold of this one, Scotland are going to have to do well to keep it out.
Bertolfe Fala there going across to inject again. Same routine, and blocked there by Shepherdson.
Yeah, that's a great bit of running, and right on top of it there, stick in front, right in the middle of the stick, and just ran the opportunity down, made it hard for the Gibraltar team to get that way. But good defending.
I think a good defensive test then for Scotland. A couple of minutes there they've been under pressure, and they've stood the test ahead of tougher games to come.
I think so. In games like this, from Scotland's point of view, you're probably thinking in an ideal world you're not even conceding any chances. You're happy with that, but when they do, you've just got to do your job and kind of keep it out. So yeah, be happy with that.
They get it into the circle again, and a chance for Field. Didn't quite get a hold of that one though.
I'm not sure if he's trying to pass there, or if he's had a go at goal. It's difficult for him to get his feet round it in time. He just totally gets it wrong.
There were a couple of options on for him there, but couldn't find either. And the chance goes by for Scotland. Stays at 6. Remnor there, doing well in defence. Go forwards as Scotland look to work something on the right hand side.
See Scotland again just sort of change of shape in their build up, just asking different questions of Gibraltar. Sometimes it's a back three, sometimes a back four, and you know, when you're a fairly inexperienced side, it's difficult to be able to adapt to that in play. It's asking pretty difficult questions of you. Can you communicate? Can you adapt? Can you work together to solve it? And it's clever play by Scotland just to keep them on the toes.
Riddell there. As Gibraltar tried to break forwards, but everyone staying back as Scotland retained possession.
See again, kind of change of shape from Scotland again, just toying with Gibraltar's defence and seeing if they can solve the problems they put in front of them.
Made easier, of course, when Scotland aren't able to hold possession amongst themselves.
Yeah, that does give you a bit of a breather. I think when you've been chasing the ball from side to side, you're pretty happy to see that happen. Just reset and go again, but you know, Gibraltar have just done the same and opposite and turned it over and given it back to Scotland.
Ethan Balbin there had gone all the way forwards for Gibraltar as well and has to come all the way back now to defend Duke for the hosts. Gets it back, Callum Duke. And the challenge on the edge of the circle there, penalised. Carl Ramage there. Morton for Scotland.
See that little 1-2 that Lee Morton's trying to work in around the circles. Clearly something Scotland have been working on. Trying to use his skill and his speed to get him free in the deep.
It's like done nicely, and might be a chance here for Morton. Goes again. But illegally so.
Yeah, I think he thought about arguing with the umpire there, but he knew he'd committed a foul.
It's usually best not to argue with the umpire.
Yeah, it usually only tends to be one winner, and again, we talked about kind of trying to conserve energy. It's just a kind of mental energy, mental exhaustion. You don't need to kind of get involved in just, you're 6-0 up. There's no point kind of exerting that extra energy and getting drawn into something that maybe leads to a card.
And of course you don't want the discipline to affect other games either if you start off on the wrong foot.
Well, it's just like we talked about earlier on about, you know, doing your job well, whether it's penalty corner defence, whether it's your build-up play, scoring the goals. It's the same. The discipline is important. It's kind of practicing that. It's as much a skill as anything else, those mental skills.
Good dummy there, and Riddell now to bring it forwards. Forsyth there did well to control that at the second attempt. Almost got the opportunity, and well, there you go. Alan Forsyth, sorry, wins the penalty corner.
Good composure by Forsyth. He just recognises he's not really got much options around him. He's being crowded out and just takes the time to find a foot, doesn't panic, doesn't try and force something that's not there, and Scotland got another chance to put a goal on the scoreboard.
Duncan Riddell there, ready to inject this. Gibraltar ready, Scotland ready. Riddell in, and the flick there, the chance for Jamie Golden, but it goes over.
Took a deflection. It's hard to see if it took a deflection off the runner or if the keeper managed to get a touch on it, or a bit of both there. Good flick.
Good opening for Scotland as they look to add to the tally in this third quarter. And again from Forsyth, and again off another foot.
It's almost an identikit, you know, of the last one. Just work the ball to the left-hand side, get somebody on the ball in the kind of corner of the D in the baseline, and just looking, you know, they know it's not a place you can score from, but it's a place you can get corners from if you're going to suck the defender in, make him expose his feet.
Riddell there. Ready again. Will they try the same again or something slightly different? Looks like the same again, and this time it's in from Jamie Golden.
Yeah, that flick from the forecastle back across the keeper. You can see again how difficult it is to defend. This would be a good angle for us to just see how difficult it is for the keeper when the runner is blocking that line. He's expecting it. They've run 2 players down the left-hand side to block it. All that does is just open up space on the other side. It's always a bit of a gamble. You're hoping you can run to where they're going to go and force them into areas they don't want to go, but that worked perfectly for Scotland.
He's hit that perfectly into the corner as well, Golden, and Gibraltar with a chance to come forwards now through Lopez there.
Bring that ball back, get that ball, get.
Scotland standing up to it in the corner and defending well too.
Good composure there, just to take your time and find a pass and not be ruffled, and now you've got the chance to reset, you've got a bit more space to play in, you can move the ball. It's all that kind of same theme for Scotland, just not forcing the ball, not panicking, just taking your time and having the confidence in doing the right thing at the right time.
Looking forward to that game tomorrow. How different will the approach be from Scotland against a team that is looking to win this group as well?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think both teams won't have showed everything that they've got ahead of that, but in the same instance, there's no massive secrets in top level of hockey. You can get video of each other easily enough. A lot of the players know each other. Whether it's through club stuff, a lot of them play or have played together. So there's no massive surprises in that respect. But I think it'll just be a case of who can kind of stick to their game plan the best and make the most of it. We've seen both teams create lots of chances today. They haven't been super clinical. I think Scotland probably been a bit more clinical than Wales were earlier on for the chances they've had. But tomorrow we probably won't see quite as many chances, and it'll probably come down to who is more clinical when those opportunities present themselves.
Gibraltar again looking to build something going forwards, but Kitano there conceding possession. Bremner in the middle of the field for Scotland. Just playing it around at the back with Andy Bull now. It's a good ball through for Walker. And Shepherdson. Bremner almost lost possession there, did really well to recover. Forward from Duke, but too quickly. Nothing Alan Forsyth could do about that one.
Good decision by Michael Bremner there. I think that there was a shout, from further up the pitch to play quickly, and he had a look and didn't really feel it was on, just took the simple option. Fortunately for Scotland, didn't really come to anything, but those are the sorts of decisions they've been making quite well so far. And as I say, just hope, I think Derek Forsyth will be hoping that they don't change from what they've been doing in that respect for the final 15 minutes or so.
Duke back. Well intercepted, and Gibraltar can pick up possession. Bremner there. Back from Kitano. Joseph Kitano does really well there for Gibraltar. Probably been one of their better players this afternoon, you would have to say.
I think he's had a good game, and I think Gibraltar as a whole won't be disappointed with this. They've come here to try and play hockey. They've created a bit of problems for Scotland, and here's another one potentially.
Possession in a dangerous area as well. Might be the chance to shoot, but can't quite control the ball there. Gillian Lopez. I wonder if we saw the headlines there for Gibraltar. He did have an option to pass. Scotland though quickly up the other end.
It's been 2 or 3 times that Gibraltar have been able to pose problems for Scotland and isolate a player and take the ball off them or fashion a chance, and probably bodes well for the other game tomorrow. You know, Gibraltar have looked like they're certainly not just here to make up the numbers, and I think they'll be pretty confident that they can beat Switzerland tomorrow in this showing.
A very different game for them as well when they come up against the Swiss, who lost 8-0 earlier on today.
On paper it should be, you know, I think Switzerland are eight places ahead of them in the rankings, and you'd think that would be enough for Switzerland, but you know, on what we've seen so far, I think Gibraltar, that's maybe a little bit false, those rankings, in terms of the distance between them and Switzerland, and I think that'll be every bit as exciting as the game between Scotland and Wales tomorrow.
Yeah, there have been bigger upsets than just 8 places between teams.
I think if you're Gibraltar, you got that, you know, that's the game that you're going to be targeting. That's the game that you're looking to pick up world ranking points, and particularly a team that's above you at a tournament like this, where there's a bit more value added to the kind of the ranking, the algorithm that goes with it and stuff. And you know, they'll be looking at it and thinking there's a really good chance for us to go up the rankings. It's for a team that doesn't get to play that much international hockey. It's a really good opportunity for them.
Sheffield forward and into the corner now, trying to break into the circle, Walker, but well defended. Momentarily with an extra ball on the field there. And the Hooter to end this third quarter, just the 1 goal from Jamie Golden, and 7-0 for Scotland now.
Definitely a different kind of flavour to that quarter. And Scotland still with a lot of possession and some good opportunities, but you can see Gibraltar didn't. It would have been easy for them to kind of fold after that second quarter, where they conceded 4 goals.
Just to remind you that the clubhouse, the top end of the car park, will.
A few highlights then from the third quarter, and a quarter that you would say definitely was Gibraltar's best.
I think so. You know, Scotland created some opportunities, but the opportunities that they created, you know, weren't clear necessarily big clear-cut ones. It was having to win corners and things. This was probably one of the closest ones from open play, just forced wide by Rob Field.
And they had a few penalty corners as well. Maybe not quite as many as they did in the first half.
No, but they've shown they can still score from them. They've looked pretty ruthless from corners so far, and it's actually taken some, either a combination of some good saves and some good penalty corner running to keep Scotland out on a number of occasions.
I do like this view from behind the goal. You see so much.
That just demonstrates how hard it is for the keeper when they go from the far castle across into that near corner. You don't see the sighting when it comes at that pace. You know, it's tough.
If you're close enough to hear in the language.
Scottish bench there. Ahead of the 4th and final quarter, and I guess for Scotland the goal now is to score more goals than Wales did earlier on.
They'll definitely be looking to top up their goal tally, that's for sure. They'll probably be a wee bit frustrated that they didn't score a couple more in that last quarter. I suspect we might see a little bit more urgency from Scotland in this, just to try and finish on a bit of a high and go into tomorrow and on the front foot.
Well, Gibraltar have other ideas at the start of this final quarter anyway. They're Pilcher and Lopez disrupting that Scottish midfield, and they look to get forwards. But that's intercepted, and Forsyth can drive forwards. He's got the freedom of Uddingston ahead of him almost. Alan Forsyth into the circle, almost there, and a second chance, but Gibraltar escape. And the call there going against Lee Morton it is.
Umpire's definitely sure that he's seen something there. I know he chuckled with Lee Morton. He didn't put on much of a fight about it, so maybe the umpire was right. I can hear Derek Forsyth beneath us kind of urging Scotland on, probably wanting a little bit more oomph from them in this final quarter. It was a bit flat, that third quarter from Scotland.
side. They're just keeping him in the corner, but conceding the free hit at the same time. And possession well won back. Chance to drive towards the circle. If he can turn, there's maybe an opportunity. 3 Scottish bodies there, but no one to turn it home.
I think Rob Harwood was in a really good position, and just it looks like to me his ball's been fired across. He's just come off his foot. He's just mistimed his slap into it. Yeah, he's in the right position. Just I'm not sure the ball maybe needs to come quite as firm as that. Makes it a bit more difficult for him, but he'll be kicking himself if he's missed that one.
It was good play though from David Nairn, just to hold up the ball and let his teammates get into possession.
It was, you know, the initial break from Lee Martin was good, and again a good decision to. He could have gone himself, but he recognised Nairn was ahead of him in space. It didn't quite open up for Nairn to score, but good composure from him to try and find the pass. Just didn't quite come off for him.
Collins and Bull there at the back for Scotland, and the wayward pass forward from Riddell there. And Bull has possession back for Scotland. Shepherdson.
Definitely a corner there.
A little bit of a silly one, would you say?
Yeah, it's clever play by Scotland. It just sucks the player in and invites that challenge. But you know, you can see if you don't know if we're going to see it back, but he just puts the brakes on and encourages them to run at the back of him. But pretty clumsy from Gibraltar there. It's only ever going to be a one decision.
Riddell then again ready. Golden and Walker already scored from this position, and it goes. It's Andy Bull, and that's come off a foot in the way through. So just a reset of positions.
More good corner defence from Gibraltar. Yeah, they've done really well on a number of occasions, just running it down and getting a touch on it. And you know, I think even, yeah, you've conceded another corner, but something celebrating. It's a goal that you haven't conceded. It's a chance that you've stopped them scoring.
And it's laid off this time. Great save there to deny Shepherdson.
That was a tremendous save. I thought that was a goal all day long.
Tried something a little different, did Scotland, and they might get another chance here as it goes in. But not quite.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure that corner worked quite as effectively as Scotland hoped. Alan Forsyth playing the ball behind his back for Andy Bull, but it wasn't quite accurate enough. They improvised though, and you know, it took a pretty spectacular stop by the keeper to keep it out. Scotland definitely pressing higher in this quarter. Has the added benefit of not only putting more pressure on the back line, but it just means you've got more forward passes, especially quickly, that you can play when you regain it. Probably part of the thinking from Derek Forsyth there is just, you know, how can we take advantage of all these kind of regains when we win the ball back. We've got that target man be able to play forward to really quickly.
Another couple of goals, of course, and Scotland would be top of the table after day one, which is always something.
It's got to be in their heads that they want to be doing that. You know, we talked about just doing the job that's in front of you, and you know, be happy with what they've done. But yeah, these guys are all super competitive. They want to be scoring as many goals as they can, winning the game as comfortably as they can.
Hernandez upset there that he's been penalised, but it was for Scotland, unfortunately for him. A chance to come inside as well. Tries to lay it off, looked to work it in to the circle there again. Did Jamie Golden.
Great play by Lee Martin again there, just little dip of the shoulder, quick hands, and he just accelerates into that space. Probably unlucky not to get a corner there, Scotland.
Deflected on its way through. It's a good pass in there, and a chance for Golden again, kicked away.
Another good save from Gibraltar. Both Borg and Emmett and goals for Gibraltar have both pulled off some pretty good saves so far.
Henry Emmett adding to that save tally in this second half, as they've both had good games despite the scoreline.
I think that we watched the first game, and Wales will probably admit that the chances that they had, they didn't score enough, and that was probably more on them than the Swiss defence or the Swiss goalkeeping. But I think Scotland probably feel a wee bit hard done by here, because they've created some really good opportunities and really worked the keeper. It's just taken some moments of brilliance from both keepers.
Opportunity again, and off the crossbar there from Harwood. Morton as well with the chance, and Emmett again, just as you're saying, adding to that tally of saves that really is building for Gibraltar.
I think if Scotland could easily have been 12 or 13-0 up if it hadn't been for some of the fantastic saves from both Gibraltar keepers today. We'll come out of this. We talked about who'd played well earlier on. I think both of them will be pretty happy. You're always disappointed any goal you concede. So conceding, 8's not great, but you also be pretty pleased with what you've done as well.
To be fair to them, that those Struan Walker goals, there isn't a lot you can do when there is that little bit of individual brilliance.
I mean, a couple of the goals Scotland scored in the first half were just delightful, and as a keeper, you're probably, if you're saving that, there's probably more an element of luck than anything else. If just being able to see it's probably half the battle.
John Paul Hernandez to bring forwards for Gibraltar as they look to try and work something. They have done a lot better this second half, created their best opportunities of the match. That's a good ball through. Golden should be on as well, as Scotland look to hit Gibraltar on the counter, just can't quite feed the pass through, with both Walker and Field waiting.
More great play from Lee Martin, again deep in his own half, eliminates a player, quick hands, super acceleration, and that quality of that pass was phenomenal. Diving, able to play kind of slide across the pitch for Golden come out. Unfortunately, he just couldn't capitalise on it.
Gibraltar a chance to bring men forwards again. Picked up well, and chance to drive into the circle. Maybe a good opportunity here, and Gibraltar have scored. Lovely work.
It was a good goal, wasn't it? I mean, we talked about how direct they've been. Oh, it's been overturned, I think, is it?
It looks like it has.
Yeah.
Julian Hernandez thought he found the net for Gibraltar.
I did wonder, it looked, there's a suspicion of it maybe coming off a foot as it went in.
Chance at the other end for Scotland though, and that one is going to count. And just when Gibraltar thought they had something from this match, the Scottish lead extends to 8.
It just shows you at this level, ball down one end, you think you've scored, it's off, and then 5 seconds later, ball's down the other end. Probably a bit unfortunate for Gibraltar. They probably switched off a wee bit there. I mean, all of you up here, took us a time to see it had been overturned, and they probably just lost a wee bit of focus there, allowed Golden a chance to score that goal in the break.
Shows you just how quick hockey can be at times, from one end of the pitch to the other in a moment of seconds. Gibraltar trying to find the goal that I'm sure they feel was harshly ruled out.
It was great interchange by Gibraltar to get it. We talked about them being quite direct when they were high up the pitch, but it worked for them that time. They were able to, a good bit of skill and nice kind of juggle to get the ball in, and yeah, probably kicking themselves that they haven't got the score sheet there.
Picked up by Lee Morton. That's well intercepted too by Julian Lopez, but just a wee bit too much to keep it in play.
You could see what Morton was trying to do there. The space was on the other side, just didn't quite get the accuracy of the pass right, but hasn't turned into too much. Scotland got the possession back.
Just to confirm that Scotland's 8th goal was scored by number 20, Jamie Golden. A hat-trick for Jamie Golden.
Just confirming the scorer of the 8th goal there, the announcer here in Uddingston. 2 hat-tricks for 2 Scottish players, Golden and Walker. That's what you like to see, isn't it, when you're in a competition like this. You've got 2 players up there at the top of the scoring charts, especially this early on.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be happy with that. And on the flip side, you know, just what Ross Anderson did at the back there, a really difficult take on his backhand or an aerial, and then driving forward, took a foul to bring him down. You know, as good as the goals have been, there's been other elements of Scotland's game that would be really happy with, just kind of how they've kept possession. And I say that I've turned it over, but you know, generally they'll be pretty happy with the whole game's gone.
It wouldn't be like a good game of hockey without a commentator's curse there, would it?
No, it's surprised it's taken me that long to do it, to be honest.
And their forwards from John Paul Hernandez as Gibraltar look to try and find that little something from the match that you couldn't say they haven't deserved, could you?
No, they've created a couple of good opportunities. And you saw again there some nice individual skill. Just the second time he lifted off the ground, probably just a little bit too high, leading to potential for dangerous play. But you know, they've shown that they've got a threat going forward, and I think that the game tomorrow against Switzerland will be really interesting.
Forwards there looking for the run of Dirtalt Fowler, but not quite.
See the game starting to get a bit stretched now. Gibraltar down a player, still pressing quite high up the pitch. We'll see if Scotland can take advantage of that in the last few minutes. Having said that, now they've sat off deep.
When you are 1 man down, that is always something to consider. Got a little unlucky there, did Anderson. And just gifting possession back to Scotland. Good work there by Greaves. And forwards from Bremner towards Golden. But Gibraltar able to see that one clear.
It's been a few now that have played forward to Jamie Golden. He's getting into good spaces. Just 2 or 3 times he's not quite been able to control it with his first touch and turned into a turnover.
Ball in and chance there, good stop again. Denying another opportunity there is Henry Emmett as Scotland look to try and add a 9th goal.
It's Ed Greaves that falls to a good improvisation from him, but again, Henry Emmett and the goal's more than equal to it.
Crossfield into the circle for Forsyth, across it goes, and there is number 9. The touch on the line.
Rob Harwood, I think. Just in the right place at the right time again, gets that touch just in front of the keeper.
Yeah, you can see there Harwood just lurking, gets the touch to put it around the keeper. And 9-0, a hat-trick of hat-tricks.
I think Scotland forwards would be pretty happy with that. I mean, we talked earlier on about the amount of chances they've created, and you know the score's only 9 because of the good goalkeeping. I think they've not been too kind of profligate with their chances in front of goal. You can look at that and say, do you know what, fair play to Henry Emmett and Joseph Borg. They've made some pretty good saves tonight and kept us out.
Not long left then in this one. Scotland will be top of the table then at the end of day one. Perfect start to this Euro Hockey qualifier, with Wales and Switzerland to come tomorrow and Saturday. A rest day on Friday for all the teams, of course. And the ball through for Harwood there, almost. Just if he could have trapped that a little bit better, that could have been a fourth for him.
Well worked from Scotland again. There's a couple of good opportunities they created since Gibraltar gone down to 10 men. They just used the space well, fashioned those opportunities. Just Rob just couldn't quite get the first touch on it to control it there.
And just seconds left then, as the hooter goes. Scotland 9, Gibraltar 0. A perfect start then for the hosts.
I think they'll be pretty pleased with that. You know, we talked about right at the start that you win 12-0 and it's expected, you win 8-0 it's expected, you don't score that many goals, then it's a disappointment. But I think that they've done really well there against a good Gibraltar side. You know, I've been really impressed with them. They stuck to the task. They had that bit of a dip in quarter 2, but you know, fair play to them. They stepped it up in quarter 3, and they've not been scared to take the game to Scotland at all.
I think I know the answer to this before I ask, but player of the match?
You know, there's been quite a few people. I think probably just for the individual brilliance for 2 of the goals probably goes to Stu and Walker for me. But I think, you know, a lot of people can be pretty happy with performances on both teams. You know, maybe unlucky that one of the Gibraltar keepers doesn't sneak it from me.
Yeah, that is definitely something that Gibraltar can take from this one. Going into such a big game against Switzerland is that they have 2 quality goalkeepers that will help if they need it.
Yeah, they've got that, and they've got, you know, that they've shown they've got an attacking threat. We didn't see much of it, but they've definitely got the kind of ingenuity to open teams up. And I think tomorrow's going to be closer than the rankings will suggest for between the Swiss and Gibraltar. And I think, you know, it'll be a different game from Scotland-Wales, but I don't think it'll be any less interesting.
And just looking back at that second half, then it started a bit quieter in quarter 3.
It did, and I think that's always a challenge when you're so in control, is that it's easy to just back off a little bit too much. You want to control and you know, kind of retain some of your energy and stuff, but it's then quite hard to dial it back up again. We saw the same in the game beforehand. As soon as you back off, it's hard to pick it up. But you know, fair play to Scotland. They turned it around again and turned the screw in the final quarter.
And we can hear now from one of those hat-trick heroes for Scotland, Rob Harwood.
We are here at the Euro Hockey Championships qualifiers for next year in Mönchengladbach. With me is Rob Harwood. A nice hat-trick.
Yeah.
How did it feel?
Yeah, okay. Frustrating at times. I think it took us a little bit of time to sort of break them down and get used to the style of hockey. And yeah, we knew goals are going to be important. You know, Wales, I think, won by 8 in the game before us today. So yeah, it sets us up nicely for tomorrow. And the most important thing was getting the win. And yeah, a few goals is always helpful.
What do you expect of tomorrow's game?
It'll be tough. I mean, it's always tight when we play Wales. You know, it's a bit of a derby match for us. And yeah, I mean, we expect it to be tight and physical, and yeah, it's just going to come down to who's better on the day, and yeah, looking forward to it.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
I want to touch it.
That was Rob Harwood then from Scotland, one of the hat-trick scores. We can have a look at some of the highlights then from that second half now. Well, from the whole match. Starting off with some early goals for Scotland.
Yeah, Jamie Golden looked pretty dangerous from penalty corners today from both castles. You know, there's always the element of not kind of wanting to show everything you've got, but in the same instance, I don't think it does any harm to put some doubt into the opposition's head and make them think that, you know, there's a lot for us to deal with there.
Harwood there with the second of the goals, the first of his 3.
Yeah, not an easy tap in for Rob, and all his goals were pretty simple, but you know, there's a real skill to that. It's maybe not as spectacular as a goal like from Struan Walker there, but you know, every goal counts the same, and at the end of the day, your name's on the score sheet. 10 years time, doesn't matter if you put it in a backhand like that, or if you steal it going over the line from your teammate from an inch out.
That's the one that will be, well, maybe not quite that one, but certainly one of his two of his three will be on the social media, I'm sure, going wild for it. The individual skill from him.
I think so. This second one, you know, the corner it's a decent corner, but the first goal and the third goal were just absolutely superb. You're good enough to win any game, good enough to grace any game. You know, Scotland are aiming to get back to the top division. Those goals are good enough to be there.
Another one there for Harwood on the line.
That's exactly the type of goal I'm talking about. Yeah, it's really simple, but it still takes a bit of skill. You just got to win that space in front of the defender and having that composure to pop it in. And there's a real, you shouldn't kind of underestimate how important that skill is.
And then this is probably the best of the bunch, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. I mean, there's quite a few to choose from. We've seen quite a few good goals in both games today, but this is pretty special.
An excellent performance from
everyone involved in the
Struan Walker.
Championship qualifiers, from everyone from Scottish Hockey.
Golden and Harwood, of course, the others to get the hat-tricks. And then into the second half, this one from Jamie Golden.
Have a safe journey home.
Yeah, it's a really good finish by Golden. Just takes a little bit off it. Doesn't quite go quite as fast as he wants to, just to get that disguise, going for the placement right in the corner, and it's really tough to keep it safe.
The only goal of the third quarter before Scotland adding to their tally towards the end of the match.
Good goal here from Jimmy Golden again. Just, you know, breaks to him, but that's not an easy skill. He generates quite a lot of power, and gets the shot away on his that kind of upright reverse shot. Good goal.
And then number 9 coming right at the end for Harwood.
Yeah, again, you know, Rob's in the right place at the right time. Not a difficult goal, but it's just about knowing where to be. It's something that's every bit as important as being able to eliminate 3 players and score from the top of the day. You need to be able to get in there and get those little scrappy goals.
And tomorrow then for this Euro Hockey qualifier, first up with Gibraltar versus Switzerland and followed by Scotland versus Wales.
Yeah, you know, I think both games are going to be worth coming to see. Both teams in each, well, obviously Scotland and Wales vying to top the tournament and get that place in the top division, but some pretty important ranking points for Gibraltar and Switzerland alike in the game beforehand, and also, you know, if they could get the points there and take it in, they could get themselves up a division as well.
Dare I ask a prediction for tomorrow?
Yeah, you can dare. I think you know, Gibraltar's going to be quite interesting. I thought before Switzerland might take that game easily. I think that's going to be quite tight. And do you know what? I've got a feeling Gibraltar might sneak that one. Probably be proved wrong. And then, you know, I think Wales Scotland's just too tough to call. Obviously, I'm hoping Scotland will get the win. They've shown today they can be pretty clinical in front of the goals. And hopefully, you know, from a Scottish point of view, that's just enough to get the 3 points tomorrow.
Well, thank you very much for your company this evening, Keith. It's been great. Scotland winning 9-0 in the second of today's qualifiers. Back tomorrow with Gibraltar, Switzerland first up. Thank you very much.